So the Andrew McQualter era is about to begin at the West Coast Eagles, while we wonder what the second season under Damien Hardwick can bring to the Gold Coast Suns. We know the game's won on the field, but this coaching box battle will be intriguing. Hardwick entering his 16th season as a senior coach. 3 flags to his name. Andrew McQualter about to start his first, but he does have the experience of 13 games, 7 of those wins under Damien Hardwick when he left the Richmond Football Club during the 2023 season. Now, after 9.5 years under Hardwick at the Tigers, the man they call Mini faces his old mentor in the coaching box. Will the former student step up, or will the mentor have another lesson to teach? Great to have your company wherever you are around the nation. It's West Coast up against Gold Coast. Clint Wilden with you. Akash Fodadar is with me. Akash, emotional moments on the screen at the moment as the Eagles pay tribute to Adam Hunter, of course, who passed away a little bit earlier in the pre-season, one of their premiership players. But they have to put that emotion aside in just a moment, because if the Eagles want to continue a fascinating trend, that is every single one of their new coaches has begun their tenure at the club with a win. They have to focus on what's in front of them. Good to see you.
Good to be here, Clint. Really looking forward to this one, and an absolutely perfect day for football. The toss has just been won out in the middle by Oscar Allen, one of the West Coast co-captains, and they will kick to the Graham Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium to start this one.
We've got an absolutely star-studded experts bench. Peter Bell alongside Shane Woden, so premierships, Hall of Fame honours and Brownlow medals. Good to see both of you. What are you expecting today?
I'm expecting, good afternoon, I'm expecting a really fast-paced, frenetic game. Damien Hardwick, when he arrived at the Gold Coast Suns, he said that 80% of the premiership team is here. This year he's brought in Rioli and Noble, 2 halfback flankers who really love to run and gun with the ball. So clearly that's the style that both teams are wanting to play today.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome everybody. Yes, with Mini arriving at West Coast too, he's probably add that chaos to West Coast's game style. So we'll see a little bit of a difference there. But for me today, with Gold Coast statement round 1, a strong presence away from home and led by a seasoned midfield now with Witts, Raul Anderson, Miller. You know, they've got to have a big presence now and a real statement in round 1.
We wonder if that is the 20% they've added Noble and Rioli. While for the Eagles, Archer Reid makes his debut. Liam Baker, Jack Graham, the former Tigers, and Matt Owies, the former Blue, will be playing today for West Coast. We'll head downstairs. Bridget Lacey, what's it like on the boundary, Bridge?
Can't complain today, Clint. Glorious conditions for a boundary rider, about 29 degrees. A strong easterly today. If anything, that's probably favouring the end to which Gold Coast are kicking in this first quarter. The benches to start: Hewitt, Brockman, Reid and Cole for West Coast, Holman, Rogers, Buderick and Jeffrey for the Suns.
And we're all set for the final game of round 1. A perfect bounce to start. Witts reaches over the top of Flynn. Humphrey with the first possession for Gold Coast, but he's wrapped up immediately. And the umpire will toss it up again. Slightly attacking side of the centre circles for the Suns. Witts and Flynn tangle. Witts with the palm down, but a free kick is being paid for a hold. And it will go to the former Suns captain in Witts. Handballs off to the current captain in Anderson. He pumps it long inside the forward 50 and the mark is taken for Gold Coast. It's the young key forward Ethan Reid who's taken the mark, shook off his opponent, clutched it to his chest, and he can go back for the opening goal within the first minute from about 30 metres out on a 45-degree angle to the left.
Excellent body work from young Reid, really high draft pick. He's a tall lad. He'll probably chop out in the ruck as well today. Really exciting young player.
He's pushed his opponent aside then with ease, didn't he?
Ethan Reid, former number 9 pick. Straightforward shot, 30 metres out, 45-degree angle, keeps it low and sneaks it inside the right upright. First blood to the Suns. The opening goal via Ethan Reid. It's the Gold Coast, 1 straight 6. West Coast yet to score. We've gone just past the first minute in the opening quarter. Sunday footy here on ABC Sport.
Well, ruck infringement, and Jared Witts didn't muck around, got it out to his mate Anderson. Long, deep entry and just some really strong body work from Reid opposed to Jeremy McGovern, one of the preeminent defenders of the competition. You have to earn your kicks on Jeremy, and the young son has done a great job there.
Great job. No slouch, Jeremy McGovern.
3 goals, 1 from his 4 games last season. 19-year-old. 202 centimetres. So
size.
plenty of height about him. And a great start for the Suns. In bright sunshine, 28 degrees, blue skies. Bounce of the footy to restart. Witts, again, palmed it down and won it. Rao going back for the Suns. Got the new skipper in Anderson, hands it forward to Miller, one of the former captains. Heavily involved, kicks inside forward 50, but a good mark to McGovern, this time getting in front of Reed. The Ethan variety, and he marks it full back. He'll flare it out into the left back pocket. Awkward bounce. I'm going to get to Jinby. Hutchison's with him for support. Jimmy steps around an opponent, goes across the half-back line, and it's marked there by Kelly. He's at left half-back and immediately plays on. This is the Cripps on the wing, kicking towards left half-forward. Juggled mark taken by Waterman. 51 out from goal. He decides to play on, gets the kick away despite pressure, dumps it long. What a great response for the Eagles. Jake Waterman, he has been in some form. 53 goals last year. Their leading goal kicker for 2024. And he gets the Eagles' first of 2025. Scores level, one straight, 6 apiece. West Coast and Gold Coast, 3 minutes gone in the opening term. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Great work by Ruben Jinby off half-back, really composed. Obviously a bit of friendly fire with his teammate, but just to be able to come back through corridor, hit up Tim Kelly, change a bit of the angle, and then get some speed on the ball to Cripps on the wing here. Terrific movement by West Coast.
Going to be a crucial contest, isn't it? Waterman opposed to Sam Collins, who also has established himself as one of the best key defenders in the competition.
Cracking start to this contest. Both sides have hit the scoreboard. Another perfect bounce in the middle. Flynn crashes into Witts, managed to get a palm down. Kelly over the top of it. Flynn with a toe poke to centre half forward. Hewland back the other way. This kick just past the centre circles where Dewar took the mark, but he's penalised for a push in the back. And it's a free kick going the Suns' way to Ainsworth. Ainsworth will send them forward now. Long leading out towards half forward, can't mark, and Jack Hutchinson takes the mark for West Coast at left half back, just inside his defensive 50. Hutchinson sends it up the line towards a northern wing. Cripps in front position. Can't complete the mark, and the ball's knocked over the boundary line for a throw-in. Just the defensive side of the northern wing for West Coast.
New role for Tyrell Dewar this year, off half-back. Small forward last year.
Yeah, he showed some real excitement through the pre-season, some really nice glimpses.
Ball spun back in. Witts gets in front of Flynn. Shallow throw-in, manages to take it out of the ruck. Handball's out in front of Humphrey. Rao gathers. Jinby just buffets him over the boundary line. And the umpire will toss it back in once more. Right half forward for the Suns, about 60 metres around from their goal.
And going to be fascinating to see Jinby, how he adapts to playing tall and small through the season.
Both sides, 1 goal apiece, early stages, opening term. And down here by the Eagles, it'll come to Humphrey though. His hand pass intercepted. Baker got in the way to Graham, the two Tigers, and his hand pass was a poor one. Went straight over the boundary line for a throw-in.
But great to see more permanent half-back.
Yeah, I think he looks more natural there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Then again there for the ruck for West Coast. Just 4 games last year. Witts took front position, palmed it down for the Suns. Flynn trying to get it off the ground. Rowell emerges with it. Hands it back for the Suns to Miller. Hand pass forward, knocked down by Jinby. Jinby tried to go a second time. Hutchison involved as well. Rowell gave it to Miller. Kicks the Suns inside forward 50 towards full forward. No mark taken. Spills to ground. Hoff tried to shovel a hand pass out. Ainsworth on the deck. Got it back to Ethan Reid. Great smother Hoff coming across his face. Knocked it over the boundary line. The Eagles fans show their appreciation for the effort. Ball will be thrown in deep in the right forward pocket. 6 gone in the opening term. Both West Coast and Gold Coast, 1 straight goal apiece.
Good position here for the Suns. Umpire tosses it back in. Flynn gets a tap down at Baker, who just tumbles the ball out of defensive 50, past centre half back and into the middle of the ground. The Suns are first onto it. Rioli to Ballard. Short kick up to half forward. The Suns have it now, just attacking side of the centre square. In the hands here of Ben Ainsworth. Looking for a target deep. Just takes a little bit off the kick, wants King. And knowing that was coming, Jinby gets in front and takes the intercept mark for West Coast in the right back pocket. Good start to this game for Ruben Jinby. He has it in the right back pocket and goes out to the southern side. He wants Allen. He's in a wrestle there with Ballard. Ballard did well, got a hand to it, but the umpire will pay the mark to Oscar Allen. The West Coast skipper Goes up the wing. Good fist there from Miller at the back and punches the ball away from Noah Long and out over the boundary line for a throw-in between wing and half forward for West Coast on the southern side.
And already you can see how fast both teams want to move the ball. With the conditions today, if it continues over 4 quarters, there's going to be some tired lads out there by the end of the game.
Boundary umpire unfurls. Wheats got away from his opponent, tapped it down beautifully for Rao, burst through. Ren past the logo on the southern wing, kicks inside forward 50. King crashes into McGovern. The ball jars free, comes towards Long in the left forward pocket, spins around and kicks across the face. A minor score. Suns in front by 1. 7:30 gone in the opening term.
Sorry, Clint. Rowell and his connection with Witts is already looking really threatening for the Suns.
First blemish on the scoreboard. The Suns 1-1-7. West Coast 1 straight 6. Tyrell Dewar with the kick-in duties for West Coast. Runs out towards the northern side and pumps a long high kick. Flynn in front position takes a good grab. Opposed to Will Powell. Handballs off quickly to Jack Graham, one of the former Tigers who's come across to West Coast. Kicks to Owens, who does well. Takes the mark on his chest in front of Closey. He's on true centre wing, southern side. Kicks up towards right half forward and finds Allen leading out to take the mark. The man on the mark, Ballard, is on the paint of 50. So a big kick here for Oscar Allen. Missed large parts of last season. He'll be looking to stay fit and build a big partnership with Jake Waterman inside that forward 50 for West Coast this season. This kick, well, he'll be kicking from about 55 metres out, about 10 metres in from the boundary line. Allen on the approach now. Boot to ball from outside 50. Has it got the journey? It does! Few Suns players on the line claim that they touched it, but it's carried the goal line and Oscar Allen has his first of the day. West Coast have their second and they take a 5-point lead early in this contest. West Coast 2 straight 12. The Gold Coast Suns 1-1-7. We've gone just over 9 minutes in the opening term here. Your experts here on ABC Sport. Brownlow medalist Shane Woden, dual premiership player Peter Bell.
2 big goals from their keys, isn't it?
Well, the value of key forwards who are accurate from outside 50. We've seen a launch from Waterman and now a launch from Allen as well. And I thought a really courageous kick across the field from Jack Graham really set the play up for Owies. And he just was patient and waited for Allen to present, and the big forward did the rest.
No pick up, Owies. Very surprising. Carlton let that one go. They'll be important, these high forwards for West Coast. Create a bit of chaos.
You want to get in touch with us, you can do so. 0437 774 774. Send us a text. Love to get your thoughts. Witts wins it down to Anderson to Rao. The Suns midfield combined once more. Inside forward 50 they go. No mark taken. Onto it though. Ainsworth gets away from Cole. Hand passed over his shoulder. Bounced off McGovern. Hoff was there to mop up. Has to step around to Hunt for the Eagles. His kick is out of bounds on the full. Gold Coast will get the free kick at left half forward, about 80 from goal.
Stoppage dominance by Gold Coast early in this one. +5 at stoppage. +3 at centre bounce, which is alarming earlier from West Coast. Just field position for Gold Coast.
Eagles lead by 5. 11 minutes gone in the opening term. Free kick taken. Back into the left forward pocket. Big pack up. King almost had it. Spills to ground. He emerges with it a second time after Hoff was harassed off it. Closey comes back for the Suns to Rao. The inboard pass tapped down to ground. Long trying to work it away. It's still there to be won. Trying to work it beyond their defensive 50 here, the Eagles. Eventually it's picked up again by Hewlin. Works it on to Butterick. Into the right forward pocket. Sliding out King marks. They've worked that pretty well. They continued to just apply pressure. West Coast couldn't get it out of their defensive 50 with any surety. And now King hard up against the boundary in the right forward pocket will kick from 35 out.
Brilliant kick from Butterick, who has recovered from, a nasty ACL injury of a few years ago, but he's a tenacious player, but skills on display there. Lovely kick to the leading King.
Twice the leading goal kicker for the Suns. King starts with his boots beyond the boundary to put Gold Coast back in front. He steers it towards goal. He's missed, pushing it across the face. A minor score. The Suns 1-2-8. The Eagles are 2 straight 12. Nearly 12 gone in the opening term. Bridget Lacey downstairs.
Jareed has just run onto the ground for his first run in AFL football. He's lined up against Sam Collins at the minute.
From the kick in, McGovern to Duggan. Gave it back to McGovern, who goes out to the far side. Hits Owies on the chest. Handballs now to a running Liam Baker. Baker puts it in to an advantageous position for Allen. He's opposed to Ballard. Ballard gets there first. Allen harassing him. And in the end, all Ballard can do is escort the ball over the boundary line, deep in the right forward pocket for West Coast. They went end to end very quickly there, the Eagles.
In the bright sunshine, the umpire unfurls. One down by Flynn. Hits the deck. Trying to merge with it, Graham. Hand pass back into traffic. That's Owies. Shovels it backwards again. Long tapped it in the direction of Cole. His hand pass was straight to Humphrey. Wasn't expecting the sun to be there, but he was at centre half back, and he moves it towards the northern wing. Nicely judged by Rioli, who plays on immediately. Comes towards Rogers, steps inside one. Great effort, Hoff. Just as he was about to send it towards the teeth of goal, Hoff spoiled. It came out to Budrick again, who shovels it forward once more, but it's over the boundary line for a throw-in, and Eagles come from everywhere to say once again, great effort from Hoff. That's a tremendous smother. The second we've seen from him in the opening 13 minutes of this first quarter.
Great effort. Crowd showed their appreciation as well, standing and applauding the effort from Brady Hoff. Throw in, 40 metres out from the Suns' goal. Ethan Reid against Archer Reid. It's the Sun who gets the tap down to front position. Going in after it hard is Humphrey. He can't gather. Archer Reid with his first disposal for West Coast. Handball to Duggan. His kick partially smothered. Long with a clever hand pass up to Graham. Too clever. And the umpire has penalised him for a throw. So the free kick will be taken by Joel Jeffrey for Gold Coast. The point of the centre square. Right half forward. Jeffrey just goes short and finds Humphrey.
Got to be careful with those 15-metre kicks, the way the umpires have been hot on them in the round so far.
And the umpire's actually calling for this one. He's played on now, has Humphrey's kick over Jinby's fingertips. Jake Rogers has earned himself a free kick here. It didn't look like the best kick off the boot from Humphrey. Jinby just missed the intercept mark. Ball hit Rogers on the chest. Not sure he was expecting it. But he copped some treatment from Liam Duggan. Has earned himself a free kick and a shot at goal. The Suns' small forward will put boot to ball. 30 metres out, 45-degree angle to the right. One of the products of the Gold Coast Academy. Rogers comes in now, boot to ball. It looks pretty good, and it is good. Suns back in front. Gold Coast 2-2-14. West Coast 2 straight 12. 14 and a half minutes played in the first quarter here at Perth Stadium. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Just making up from his first attempt just prior to this one, but yeah, definitely there from Duggan over the shoulders. Good finish. Quality product, this one. Young Jake Rogers from the academy. We've got a few more coming too, I hear.
Yeah, young Euland, who is going to be in a top few picks.
Yes.
So they keep producing them. And just looking at the game and the conditions and the importance of the role, those half forwards who can come up the ground and then rip back to goal. West Coast have selected a lot of them. Owies, Long, Brockman, Cripps. Hewitt's doing a little bit forward as well. And Jake Rogers, Benny Ainsworth for the Gold Coast Suns. Such an important position on the ground.
Oh, it's a shocking bounce. Archer Reid was out there doing the ruck work and won it down. Thought they probably could have called it back. Instead, Archer Reid's involved again. To Harley Reid. Takes a bounce. Harley Reid runs to 51 out. Sends it towards goal. Misses. Eagles fans were willing it through. That would have been a moment. The two Reids combining. Minor score. 2-1-13 the Eagles. 2-2-14 the Suns. 16 gone in the first.
He was off to the crowd too, I think.
Gone
early.
The crowd certainly lifts when Harley Reid has the ball. But it's Will Powell who has it in the right back pocket for the Suns. Bit of a scrubby kick off the boot. Harley Reid called out of it by a teammate, and the ball beats everyone in the pack. McGovern charging off half back, beelines the football. Handballs off to Duggan, set him a task. Ball knocked clear. Suns win it back through Noble. His handball knocked away. Here's Elijah Hewitt, his first involvement today. Ripped off the ball, and it now comes to Ethan Reid of the Suns. Tumbles it high towards right half forward. Long and Cole out after it. The bounce beats them both, and it runs out of bounds for a throw-in at right half forward for the Gold Coast Suns.
Archer Reid, he's done 2 handballs off the deck. Both of them have been perfectly executed. So rare for a player that tall to be that good off the deck.
Suns lead by 1, 17 gone in the first. Here on ABC Sport. Oh, bursting through. Graham has done so well for the Suns. He bangs it towards goal. He's missed to the left-hand side. Will Graham showing genuine pace out of the contest. Minor score, Suns up by 2. 17 gone opening term. Sunday footy from Perth Stadium on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside a Cash Fodadar, Peter Bell and Shane Woden, our experts.
McGovern with the kick in. Asked a lot of Brady Hoff, sliding in on his knees for the chest mark. And I think he's very fortunate here, Brady Hoff. The umpire's paid the mark. It spilled out of his grasp and over the boundary line. I'm not sure he had control of that long enough. Hoff from the left back pocket. Kicks it high up to the northern wing. Archer Reid and Ethan Reid. It's Ethan Reid front position. Couldn't mark. Rowell roves it off hands. Handball back to Jeffrey. His kick partially smothered. Jaden Hunt wasn't expecting it. Bounced off his head. The Suns win it back through Weller. Now Humphrey pops the ball up towards full forward and King slipped his man. Harry Edwards lost his footing. And Ben King took a nice, easy mark at full forward. And will go back and kick from no more than 15 metres out. It's a 45-degree angle. But from this distance, the angle shouldn't be a problem for the Suns spearhead.
It's clean around the contest, the Suns. Good use of hands.
4-time Suns leading goal kicker Ben King comes in and pops it through. Goal umpire does a little bit of work, but he was pretty happy with the effort off the boot, Ben King. The Suns have 3. They're 3-3-21. West Coast 2-1-13. 18 and a half minutes gone here at Perth Stadium. Bridget Lacey on the boundary.
Yeah, young Suns captain Noah Anderson obviously captaining the club now, and he's come to the bench the last few minutes and just been barking instructions here from the bench, so taking his role very seriously early doors.
Harry Edwards won't like the replay because what happened, Ben King had really early body contact, shoved him in the chest. Harry lost his footing, but it was powerful work from King, and that's why he took an uncontested mark. You've got to initiate the contact really early, and you've got to brace yourself if you're the defender. That was smart forward craft from Ben King.
Sort of waiting for it to happen, wasn't he? Edwards, rather than initiate himself.
Results earlier today, Adelaide by 63 over the Saints. GWS snuck home by 3 against the Demons. Back underway. Wicks won it down. Stolen by Harley Reid. Got tackled, lost it. Weller picks it up off the deck. Here is Anderson. Hands it to Weller. Bursting by Rioli. Showing genuine pace. Measures the kick inside forward 50, but finds Cole instead for West Coast. Taking the defensive mark between fullback and centre-half back. Immediately sends it to the southern wing. Decent battle out here. Cripps had it stolen away by Powell. Got it to Weller. Shrugged the tackle of Graham. Hand pass out again to Butterick. Moves it on to Rioli for the Suns. Kicks towards left half forward. And it's marked out there. I'll move it on again. Inside to Ainsworth. Originally from Jeffrey. Ainsworth too far out to score. About 80 from goal. Assesses the options in front of him. It's told to play on now. We'll kick deep into the left forward pocket. Front position was Flynn. Rao gathered though for the Suns. Little stab pass intercepted just in front of his defensive goal square from Duggan. He'll move it short into the right back pocket to Dewar and goes on again out towards Hoff, who marks 50 out from his own goal.
Brady Hoff at right half back. Takes his time. No one on the mark, so you can go for a little wander. Pops the ball up the wing, missed his target. The Suns intercept. Daniel Rioli. One of a number of former Tigers out there. Richmond best and fairest winner last year. Comes inboard to another of the Suns recruits off half-back in John Noble. Noble switches the ball into the middle of the ground now to Powell. Powell steps around Waterman. Sold him the candy, but his kick inside 50 is poor and lands on the chest of Liam Baker. Baker wants to move it quickly. It's a bit of a scrubby kick to Waterman in the middle of the ground. Handball's out in front of Long. Bad bounce for Long. Anderson picked it up. Gave it off to Ainsworth. Back to Ballard. Ballard steadies things and kicks to the northern wing where Closey takes the mark for Gold Coast.
Closey has on a stuttering run. Gets into motion and then thumps it long into the right forward pocket. Spoil came from Edwards of the Eagles over the boundary line. Throwing in the right forward pocket. For the Suns, who are 3-3-21, the Eagles are 2-1-13. 21 gone in the opening term. Noel is a fan of yours, by the way. A Cash, just saying nice to hear a Cash calling. 0437 774 774 if you want to get in touch. Witt's front position, palmed it down to Rao. burst onto it. 51 out from goal, right half forward, kicks towards full forward. Oh, King flew! He rised into the air, rose beautifully, but Edwards stayed down and he completed the mark for West Coast in his defensive goal square. He'll kick beyond defensive 50 towards right half back. Allen was there, spoiled by Rioli, and he's tackled by Owies over the boundary line for a throw-in at left half forward for the Suns, who are 3-3-21. The Eagles are 2-1-13, 22 gone in the first.
Rao looking very prominent around stoppage early.
Yeah, 7 contested possessions, I think, and 3 clearances already in this first quarter.
Up to 10 already.
Ball tossed in. Witts gets front position. Flynn reaches over the top. Jack Graham on hands and knees. Gets the ball up. Now it's with Long, and he's gang tackled by a pair of Suns. And the umpire will have to sort this one out. Ball up. At left half forward for the Suns. Witts with the tap. Anderson. Toe pokes it inside forward 50. Rogers grabbed it. Wasn't far enough for a mark. Handball now comes to Ainsworth from 45 out. Kicks towards goal. Harry Edwards does well. Manoeuvres King out of the way. Couldn't complete the mark. And it's over the behind line. One more to the Suns score. They're 3-4-22. West Coast 2-1-13. 23 minutes gone here in the first.
So the Eagles from the kick in, bring it back into play towards left half back. And that's read well by Jeffries. Just got in front of the rest of the pack. He's able to take the mark. He's about 65 from goal. Moves it short for the Suns. It goes deathly quiet at Perth Stadium when the Suns are on the attack. And Anderson has marked it. New captain, stepped right, went back to left, kicked towards full forward. Jimmy almost got in Flynn's way. In the end, Flynn was able to take a chest mark between full back and centre half back for the Eagles. Looking for a decent run of football after an injury hit. 2024, he kicks towards left half back. Reed went up, so too did Newland. Spills down to the side. Duggan was there for the Eagles. Waterman dropped it, had time to regather, gave it to Jinby. Under pressure, kicks up in the air. Will it stay in play? Just off the hands of the Suns. They punch it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Reed was waiting underneath it. That's Harley Reed. There's a few of them out there today. Newland goes back into defence for the Suns. The ball to be thrown in left half back for West Coast. Big crowd, well over 45,000, but they're very quiet at the moment. One down by Witts, trying to work the ball out. It was Holman. Did he get it in the back or taken high? Take your pick. The umpire spotted one of them. Taken high, he says. And he will have the opportunity to move it inside forward 50, Nick Holman. He's standing on the logo, centre wing, northern side.
Holman looks inboard, swings around on that left boot and pumps it inside forward 50 for the Suns. Ethan Reid with a big run up from the back. Couldn't take the mark. McGovern punched it down to the front. Rogers sharks it off to Anderson from the outside of the boot. It won't make the distance, and Tom Cole, like a goalkeeper, sweeping back, takes the mark in the right back pocket for West Coast. The crowd a little bit angsty, wanting Cole to move the ball on. He goes short to McGovern. McGovern goes back to Cole in the right back pocket. Cole chips it further afield. Still inside defensive 50 here with Brady Hoff. Hoff looking for a switch of play, nothing doing, so he'll stick to the southern side. Kicks it long and high, wants a contest from his captain in Allen, and Oscar Allen is just nudged out of it by Charlie Ballard. And the crowd show their disapproval. They wanted a free kick for their co-captain. It's Ballard going short to Touk Miller.
Struggling to get out their back half. West Coast in the back half of this first quarter. There's 21 inside 50s to 4.
It's one of the more lopsided stats as the Suns almost mess around with it through the middle of the ground. Noble did well to break the Harley Reid tackle. Kicks towards centre half forward. Said his team had a real task in Rao, who was up to it beautifully. Scooped it up off the deck. Went backwards and found Miller calmly. Miller flares it out towards left half forward. Opportunity to go inside forward 50 again here. This is Butterick. He waits. It's a congested forward 50, but he can spot a teammate. It's worked inside the attacking 50 for the Suns again, and they'll be able to go back and, if they wish, have a shot from about 49 metres out. It's through Will Graham.
Just very fortunate they haven't been hurt on the scoreboard at the moment. Defending D50 okay.
Graham decides to stab the ball to Miller, who was completely unguarded. 35 out from his attacking goal. Miller has got free and can take an uncontested mark on a 45-degree angle to the left.
Yeah, the ball's lived in Gold Coast 50 for a long period now, and I've liked that entry. That was lax defending from West Coast, but that chip kick to Graham as well, rather than bombing it in. West Coast numbers are back because of the territorial dominance of the Suns. I like that entry a lot more.
Miller, dual Australian, dual best and fairest winner for the Suns. Kicks on its way. Goal umpire barely has to move. They'll come from everywhere to celebrate with him. And Perth Stadium sounds like a library. The Suns are 4-4-28. The Eagles are 2-1-13. 27 gone in the first. Gold Coast are up to a 15-point advantage as we close in on quarter time.
Good one, a library. There's only about 10 of them here, I think, today. Behind the goals.
I love the ones who are showing up. They're doing their best, but it is deathly quiet here.
Well, they'll be pretty pleased from what their team has produced so far. The Suns, through that territorial dominance of clearance, and they've just locked it in, and West Coast have tried to defy the thrusts again and again, but this time there's a bit more precision to the entry rather than the long kick in. And Miller is the beneficiary.
Yeah, plus 21 in the contest too. Early stages aren't great for West Coast.
3 in a row for the visitors. Bounce back in the middle. Witts and Flynn tangle. Anderson just tries to soccer the ball forward. There's a free kick being called here.
Yeah, another centre bounce.
And it's coming back to Jarrett Witts. So called by the non-controlling umpire, the out-of-zone umpire. And it's a free kick to Witts in the middle of the ground. The former Suns captain. The long left foot kick. Ethan Reid leads out, gets the hands to it, can't complete the mark. But he's earned himself a free kick. And the crowd won't be happy with that. But the youngster had front position on Jeremy McGovern. And he used a tall young man, Ethan Reid, above 200 centimetres. Arms outstretched, and Jeremy McGovern has infringed.
He had the jump on McGovern, and there's an arm around the waist. I thought it was marginal on that occasion. It hasn't gone West Coast way. But he's a great athlete, Reid. One of their best runners at 202 centimetres, and looks like he's really filled out as well.
He's got 1 goal already, Ethan Reid. Going for his second, and number 5 for the Suns. Kicks from 40 out on a slight angle. And the crowd noise tells the story. He's missed. Another blemish on the scoreboard for the Suns. They're 4-5-29 with a 16-point lead over the Eagles, who are 2-1-13. Almost 30 minutes gone in the first quarter. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Baker. Eagles fan as a child, now back after a couple of premiership with the Tigers. New club colours for 25 for him. Kicks beyond defensive 50. The Eagles will emerge with it from a pack. Flynn tried to work it onto Graham. Hand pass back into traffic. Oh, Rowell gave the big don't argue to Graham. Worked it over the top to Miller. Now to Noble. Hunt ran him down. Great tackle. The ball jars out. Chance to come forward through Hoff. They're streaming away West Coast. Into the hands of Graham. Kicks towards centre half forward. Owies. Hand pass missed its target. Cripps has to go back. Tapped it in the direction of Kelly. Tapped it back to Cripps. He's tackled by Rowell, who seems everywhere. And takes him to ground just inside the attacking edge of the centre square for West Coast. Ball up.
He seems everywhere because he is everywhere. That was amazing defensive run from Rowell.
Throw it up. Witts palmed it down for the Suns. Had a second go at it. Tried to tap it onto Rowell. Eagles fans thought it was a throw. Merging with it, Humphrey. Kicked it straight into Hoff. Pinball back into traffic. Reid, the big don't argue to Humphrey. Tried to allow Hoff to pick it up. He couldn't. Hutchison could. Humphrey tackled him to ground. Hoff does emerge with it. Bounces a kick forward only as far as Rioli across half back. Sends it towards the commentary wing. That was well done by Baker. Got in front of Ainsworth. Couldn't control it, apart from going over the boundary line, but stopped what would have been another Gold Coast possession. Ball thrown in, just shy of centre wing for the Gold Coast Suns, who lead now 4-5-29 to the Eagles 2-1-13. 31 gone in the first.
Witts gets the tap down. Kelly tries to crash through the pack, but the siren beats him and beats West Coast, trying to get another chance of scoring. Bit of a scuffle here where the ball fell. Matt Rowell involved, Jaden Hunt involved, Harley Reid, no surprise, also involved. They separate themselves now, so at quarter time, it is the visitors, the Gold Coast Suns, leading 4-5-29. to West Coast 2-1-13. That's a 16-point lead to the Suns at quarter time. This is Sunday Footy here on ABC Sport.
And the goal kickers for the Gold Coast, Miller, Ethan Reid, Rogers and King, while for West Coast, Jake Waterman and Oscar Allen. As Akash said, 4-5-29, the Suns, the Eagles 2-1-13. Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital Radio, News Radio, and of course streaming on the AFL button on the ABC Listen app, this is Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
The Socceroos are back on ABC Sport as they try to book their place in the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Right into the 6-yard box and puts it in. It's his second of the night, and it's a well-crafted goal by the Socceroos.
Catch all the action Thursday night on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Free kick has been paid for a hold, and it will go to the former Suns captain in Witts. Handballs off to the current captain in Anderson. He pumps it long inside the forward 50, and the mark is taken for Gold Coast. It's the young key forward Ethan Reid who's taken the mark, shook off his opponent, clutched it to his chest, and he can go back to the opening goal within the first minute from about 30 metres out on a 45-degree angle to the left. Ethan Reid, former number 9 pick, straightforward shot, 30 metres out, 45-degree angle, keeps it low and sneaks it inside the right upright. First blood to the Suns.
Cripps on the wing, kicking towards left half, ball juggling mark taken by Waterman, 51 out from goal. He decides to play on, gets the kick away despite pressure, thumps it long. What a great response from the Eagles. Jake Waterman, he has been in some form, 53 goals last year, and he gets the Eagles' first of 2025.
Handballs off quickly to Jack Graham, one of the former Tigers who's come across to West Coast. Kicks to Owens, who does well, takes the mark on his chest, kicks up towards right half forward, and finds Allen leading out to take the mark. The man on the mark, Ballard, is on the paint of 50. So a big kick here for Oscar Allen. Boot to ball from outside 50. Has it got the journey? It does! Few Suns players on the line claim that they touched it, but it's carried the goal line, and Oscar Allen has his first of the day. The Suns win it back through Weller. Now Humphrey pops the ball up towards full forward, and King slipped his man. Harry Edwards lost his footing, and Ben King took a nice, easy mark. Will go back, kick from no more than 15 metres out. 4-time Suns leading goal kicker Ben King comes in and pops it through. Goal umpire does a little bit of work. Pretty happy with the effort off the boot, Ben King.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Results earlier today as round one continued in the AFL. Adelaide beat St Kilda by 63 points. The Giants just got home against the Demons by 3 points. Quarter time here at Perth Stadium. The Suns 4-5-29 to the Eagles 2-1-13. Our experts, dual premiership player and AFL Hall of Famer Peter Bell, Brownlow medalist Shane Woewodin.
Well, the good news for West Coast is they've got some scoring efficiency. The bad news is they only went inside 54 times. Great goals from Waterman and Allen, but really the ball lived in Gold Coast's front half for the majority of that quarter. I think inside 50s 23-4, and it was off the back of clearance dominance from Witts and Rao particularly. Really clean. I've just noticed that they have been cleaner around the contest, and their physicality from the Gold Coast midfielders has been really brutal. So both when they have the ball with that ability to absorb the tackle and get the hands free and get the ball out, or when West Coast have the ball, they're making their tackle stick or getting an arm in or just blocking, all of those sorts of things that you want from your midfielders, and that has enabled them to play the game in their front half, Wowie.
Yeah, they certainly have, Belly. It's been an incredible start by Gold Coast, and again, good statement early. Way on the road, round one, foreign ground, been terrific and well led by their leaders in Witts and Rowell and Anderson, Miller and the like. They've been terrific, and yeah, off the back of strong contests, contest is plus 19 too, so they've been terrific in that area and given field position from clearance and plus 4 round centre bounce. So there's 4 inside 50s already. And as you said, Belly, it's been living the front half. 3-1 from front half turnovers. I think Dim would be really happy with that. Create 10 front half turnovers in a quarter of footies. Outstanding work. So really good team defence by the Suns.
I suppose the silver lining for West Coast is the fact that it's not a huge margin in the game.
No.
With the amount of looks that Gold Coast had, they're still in touch here.
Looking at some of the major bowl winners, as Belly mentioned, It's midfield dominance from the Gold Coast, and Matt Rowell is leading all comers with 12 disposals. Noah Anderson has 11. Ben Ainsworth and Turk Miller 7 apiece. For West Coast, it's all the defenders. Brady Hoff with 7, Jeremy McGovern with 6, and Liam Baker with 5.
Sue from Tasmania asks, gents, hi team, good call. I'm listening in Hobart. Will the heat be an issue today? It is warm. It started at 29 degrees, still about 27.
It's been an issue for all players across the AFL generally this early in the season. You would have to think, though, that both Gold Coast and West Coast are well placed to deal with this sort of heat. West Coast have trained most of the summer in hotter weather than this. Gold Coast probably the same, although that round one can take it out of you like no other round.
As we've seen it across the competition already in round one, the players form with cramp. Doesn't matter how much work you do.
McQualter needs a lift from his mids here. That's stating the obvious, but Gold Coast dominated. So Jack Graham, Hewitt's gone into the middle, Hutchinson as well.
Graham stands alongside Rowell, who's been immense for the Gold Coast in the early stages of this contest. We're underway. Witts wins it down. Humphrey tapped it to himself, and the Suns get it again. The hand pass for Rowell, who gathers and then runs crashing straight into Baker. You'll get the free kick for being taken high. Interesting. It was just a case of play on.
In one direction for Rowell, isn't it?
Yep. Forward as hard and fast as he can go. He kicks deep inside forward 50. King went up, couldn't mark. Ainsworth had a chance. King went again. Flynn off the deck. Worked it to a fellow Eagle in Duggan. Kicked around the body but turns it over. Rioli marking on the 50-metre arc. Just better than a 45-degree angle to the right of goal. Immediately points at the big sticks at the Farmer Freeway end of the ground.
Just read that ball so much quicker than Cripps off the boot. Got to get in front of him, take that mark. Again, create another front half turnover. Just dump kick by West Coast out of D50.
New club colours for Daniel Rioli, a 3-time Premiership Tiger. Wheels out to the right from 51 out, sends it towards goal, and he has put it through. And they're small in number, but they've got a lot to cheer about, the Gold Coast contingent. Their fans at the Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium. They wave their flags as those in red go to celebrate with Dan Rioli. 5-5-35 the Suns, 2-1-13 the Eagles. 90 seconds gone in the second term.
Nice moment for Rioli. His first goal in Suns colours, and very close relationship obviously with Damien Hardwick. Lived with him as a young player when drafted to Richmond, and has taken the opportunity to join his mentor up on the Gold Coast.
Flush that.
It's a long kick, wasn't it?
Yeah. Great finish. Good start. Amazing what a bit of energy, bit of spirit on the road early. Quieten the crowd down.
That crowd certainly is quiet. The Suns have kicked the last 4 of this contest. Bit of a low bounce from the umpire in the middle of the ground. Witts gathers it on the bounce. He's tackled. Now picked up
West Coast mid.
there by Rowell. He was tackled as well, and the umpire will have to sort it out. Throws it up. Witts palms it down to Anderson. Tries to burst his way through. His kick deflects off Flynn. Straight up in the air. Euland with a fist to it. Runs after his own ball. Gives it a volleyball spike. Baker gathers on ground level. Handball to Long. Now to Hewitt. Out the front of the contest. Cripps has time and space at left half forward. The Eagles veteran kicks low. Wants Waterman and misses him. The ball bounces out over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in right up against the left behind post. Not sure if Cripps was going for goal or going for Waterman, but he missed both targets. They'll be thrown in deep in the left forward pocket for the Eagles.
Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside a Cash Fodder on the call. Our experts Peter Bell and Shane Woden throwing in again. Witts tried to palm it back for the Suns. Reid going through, couldn't gather for the Eagles. The form of Harley. Of course, there's an Archer and an Ethan out there. Harley Reid's just been pushed over here by Powell. Umpire says play on. Witts palms it down for the Suns. Came to Miller, tried to shovel away through, and he's been given a free kick. Now the Eagles fans find their voice. And a switch play towards Collins. Chance for Ainsworth to go beyond defensive 50. Now to Jeffrey. Hand passes over the top. They've worked that pretty well. It came to Weller. His hand pass was a bit hot for Powell. Baker got in the way. Got it there for the Eagles. Moved it to Brockman. Now to Dewar. Kicks West Coast towards right half forward. He wanted Allen. Good spoil from Ballard. Punching it over the boundary line for a throw in right half forward for West Coast. Bridget Lacey on the boundary.
Interested that Peter Bell mentioned at the start of this quarter that Andrew McWalter would want to lift from his mids. Tim Kelly started this quarter on the bench, so interesting to note.
Ball tossed back in, right half forward for the Eagles. Flynn with that tough battle all day against Witts. Ball to the front. Graham to Long to Hoff. Out the back of the stoppage go West Coast. Dewar spins around and wobbles it inside forward 50. And Collins, too strong for Waterman, nudged him out of the contest and takes the mark in the left back pocket for the Gold Coast Suns. The Suns leading by 22 points here at Perth Stadium as Collins pumps it high towards the wing. Witts and Flynn wrestle. The ball beats them both. Bounces a couple of times and out over the boundary line in front of the interchange gates.
Emmets can't get any footy at the moment, West Coast.
Ball thrown in. Down by Witts for the Suns. Looking to emerge with it is Graham. He was tackled immediately. Ball not coming out of there. Wrapped up by the other Grahams. And Jack Graham wrapped up by Will Graham with the ball put up once more. Witts palms it down with the left. Miller working through. Hand passes it to Rao. Has to backtrack for a moment. Gets a kick away towards left half forward. McGovern met with front on contact. And that'll be a free kick to West Coast. And the Eagles fans pretty happy about it. I don't think a lot has gone their way. It's against Ethan Hughes. The free kicks, by the way, 9-1 now in favour of Gold Coast. Hence the Eagles fans showing their appreciation for that free. McGovern kicks towards centre wing. No mark there. Emerging with it. Getting a hand pass over the top is Owies. Able to take it cleanly then was Hewitt, who's on the ground. Back in Eagles colours for the first time in over 500 days. Gave it to Harley Reid. Kicked around the body. Met by Rioli across half back for the Suns. Hand to Noble. Sends it into the middle of the ground. Jimmy got in front of Ainsworth. Neither could get it. Wrapped up here. A son in Anderson taken to ground. The umpire says no, it's a free kick. Anderson eventually, no, it's coming back rather for a ball up. Anderson will hand it back to the umpire. It's put up into the air. Arm down by Witts. Bounce back to him. Big ruck gets a kick away for the Suns. Jinby waits for a moment. Oh, Duggan coming the other way. They got in each other's way. Ethan Reid almost able to gather. Gave it back to Duggan in the end. Intercepted it, sent it towards the boundary line, and Dewar can't keep it in. That's 60 seconds of play you might really want to watch again, no matter who you're cheering for. 5-5-35 the Suns, 2-1-13 the Eagles. 6.5 gone in this second term. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden, Akash Fodadar, Peter Bell and Shane Woden with you.
Throw in at left half forward for the Suns. Flynn nudges Witts under it, but Hewlin comes bursting through, wins the football. Handball's off to Weller. The former Docker sends the ball high to the top of the goal square. Humphrey in a wrestle with Cole. Ball beats both of them, gets out over the back and trickles out over the boundary line. It'll be thrown in the right forward pocket for the Gold Coast Suns. The bright sunshine at the Graham Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium. Umpire unfurls, whips it back in. Witts in front position with a double palm down towards Rogers. Rogers knocks it away to Closey. Closey scrubs a kick towards Witts. Hasn't gone 15. And Flynn with the big strong tackle on his opposing ruckman saves the day. The Suns maintain that 22-point lead. A ball up the right forward pocket. Witts bodies Flynn out of it. Wanted Miller. Couldn't get it to him. Anderson tries to crash through. He's tackled well. In fact, it's Bailey Humphrey getting up from the bottom of the pack. Tackled by Liam Duggan. And the umpire will ball it up once more.
Witts palms it down. Kelly's read it well, though, for the Eagles. Gets it to McGovern. Puts it beyond defensive 50 towards the southern wing. Collins got away from Waterman, who showed his frustration. Collins takes the mark. Trots back to the logo. The southern side of the ground. In the bright sunshine at Perth Stadium. Hands it off to Powell. Thumping kick inside forward 50. Oh, that's almost a good mark to Edwards. In the end, he spilt it. King was able to gather. Gave it to Ethan Reid, who snaps a goal. Ethan Reid's got two. This 19-year-old having a day out at Perth Stadium. The Suns have got their sixth. 6-5-41 to 2-1-13 the Eagles. Gold Coast now lead by 28 points. 9 minutes gone in the second term. Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Our experts, Peter Bell and Shane Woden.
Another hack kick out of D50 from Gold Coast. And if you were being really critical, you'd expect more from Jake Waterman in his one-on-one up on the wing against Sam Collins. Collins takes the contested mark. Powell drives it back into 50, and another goal ensues.
Look at the presence at ground level inside forward 50. 4 red jumpers at the drop of that ball, and the first ones to pick that one up. Really poor defensively there from West Coast too. It's an easy goal.
First multiple goal kicker of the game, Ethan Reid. On the text line, Marcus, I'm in a very wet South Melbourne, and even if they lose, the Eagles will be on top of the Dockers tonight. Who'd have thunk it? Don't go that early yet, Marcus. Don't go that early yet.
Not when the Suns are threatening to run away with it. Witts flips it over the back to Anderson, and another centre clearance for the Suns. Kicks up towards right half forward. King beats Edwards to the ball. Handball wanted Holman. Intercepted by West Coast. Hunt has it. He's tackled. Good pressure from the Suns, and Hunt is dumped out over the boundary line with ball in hand, so it'll be thrown in at right half forward for the Gold Coast Suns.
I really love the aggression in their tackles. They're really sticking the Suns.
Boundary umpire tosses it back in. Witts just with the open hand palm down in front of Anderson again. Jaden Hunt gathers for West Coast. Graham handballs out the back of the contest to Tom Cole. Cole with a high kick into the middle of the ground. Cripps has 2 to beat. Loses his feet. Actually, it was Owies. Off to Trey, it was Cripps. Jinby, back to Cripps. Handballs forward. Now there's some run for West Coast. Here's Tyrell Dewar. Kicks towards full forward. It's a mongrel punt, and it lands in the hands of Bodie Hewland. Poor entry inside 50 for West Coast. Hewland goes into the right back pocket and finds Rioli.
It's a great mark. That ball was floating everywhere.
Rioli, beyond defensive 50, towards the southern wing. Flynn flew over the top of his opponent, got a touch on it, came back to Cole. Hand pass to Duggan. Made the role of shepherd as he worked it again to Cole. Now on to Jinby. Running across the outer edge of the centre square. Hands it back again to Jack Graham for the Eagles. Kicks towards Waterman. Good spoil came from Jeffrey. Spilled down to Baker, though, the Eagles. Gets a kick forward to Cripps. Hands it off to Hewitt. He's missed. Elijah Hewitt. First game in 568 days with the goal at his mercy. Misses to the left-hand side. The Eagles 2-2-14. The Suns 6-5-41. 11 gone in the second.
Suns bring the ball back into play quickly. Comes here to Joel Jeffrey at left half back. He just wobbles the kick up the wing. Wants long. Ball pitches right in front of him. Bounces on its end and goes out for a boundary throw in front of the interchange gates.
He's a very exciting player, Hewitt, but he's been a bit fumbly today, and I think maybe just the last couple of weeks of training management with whatever he had has just maybe taken away a little bit of that touch.
He's missed a couple of ground balls too, hasn't he?
Yeah.
The Suns by 27 points. Archer Reid into the ruck, but Witts wins the tap once more. Miller gives it back to Witts. Witts snaps a left foot kick into the forward 50, and it lands on the chest of Long. Then Long has it, left half forward, man on the mark. About 45 metres out from goal. It's a tight angle here for Long. 5 metres or so in from the left-hand boundary line.
An enormous Witts. Giving him first use.
It's been a domination.
Oh, domination. Now he's experiencing a lot more than Flynn, but you want to see Flynn fight a bit more around these contests. Just keep the ball in, and create repeat stoppages for a bit.
79 games for the Saints. Ben Long to make it 6 in a row for the Suns. Kick goes across the face. Big Pat flies. At ground level. Duggan for West Coast off the outside of the boot. It's a turnover. Ball hits the Suns player on the chest at the bottom of the pack there. Is Weller. The umpire didn't pay the mark, so he didn't control it. Instead, will ball it up inside the Suns 50. Archer Reid gets the tap. Hoff under pressure. Handballs off to Baker. Baker with a long, high, floating kick out of defensive 50. Ball hits the deck. Noble gathers. Hewitt lays a strong tackle. And the West Coast crowd roar for holding the ball, but there was no prior opportunity there for Noble. And it'll be a ball up. Defensive side of the wing for West Coast.
Thrown aloft. Ethan Reid won it down. Came to Hutchison, though, of the Eagles. To Dewar. Hand pass missed Hutchison. Miller did well. Rode the bump. Hand pass, though, to no one in particular. Long got in the way. Gathered. Gave it to Dewar for the Eagles. Kicking to the middle of the ground. It's a hand passed over his shoulder. Butterick, rather. It came to Noble. Jeffrey kicks inside forward 50. King goes up over the top of Edwards. Takes the mark. 30 out from goal. He'll start his approach in line with the left hand upright.
I've been really impressed by Gold Coast. Just how hard and how clean they've been, particularly over a ground ball.
I'd love to see them change one thing structurally. Around stoppage, they've got 2 forwards up and in. I ought to pull them back and go 6 ahead. I know they're getting belted around stoppage at the moment, but when they do win it and go out, it's +2 behind the ball at the moment.
Ben King looking for his second for the Suns. Puts boots a ball. It never looked like missing. He's got 2. Gold Coast have got 7. And they pushed that lead out to a game-high 33 points at the 14-minute mark of the second. Gold Coast 7-5-47. The Eagles 2-2-14. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Yeah, concerns for Jack Graham. He came to the bench really, really sore and has been getting his left hip looked at by the physios and doctors, so we'll keep an eye on him.
Maybe just elaborate on that point a bit more, Wowie. You're talking about West Coast sending a couple of extra forwards up to the stoppage.
Yeah, so obviously to create a real contest and more numbers, and because of maybe the dominance of Gold Coast so early, just to maybe create some repeat stoppages. But at the moment, that's not working. And when West Coast do win the footy out and when they kick it back, there's 2 spare Gold Coast Suns defenders there just sitting there in a more advantaged position.
Ethan Reid into the ruck for the Suns. Wins it down against Archer Reid. Anderson has it now. Defensive portion of the centre square, and he's tackled by Hutchinson and Harley Reid, and the umpire will ball it up.
And they're not coming up and just sitting on the periphery on the outside in that inner ring. They're coming up and going really in the trough.
The Reids tangled once more. Points to Archer this time. West Coast try to scramble the ball forward, but it's Matt Rowell bursting out of the pack again. Went out the back this time. Left foot snap out towards the wing. Ball bounces away from Hunt and Closey. Humphrey with good hands gathers. Handball went straight to Brockman. Brockman over the head to Hunt. Hunt now to Reid. That's Harley. He fumbles. Handballs back to Jinby. Jinby tries to break a tackle. Kept his feet. Gave it to Hutchinson. Hutchinson forward to Hunt. Now Kelly from 50 at right half forward. Goes long, goes deep. Several sets of hands on it, and it's knocked over the goal line, so it's a minor score for the Eagles. One behind there, 2-3-15, the Gold Coast Suns, 7-5-47. 16 minutes gone in the second quarter here at Perth Stadium.
Suns have kicked the last 7 goals of the game. 7-5 plays 2-3. So the Eagles try to find a way through. Gold Coast move it towards the southern wing. Umpire spotted a
Holman
free kick.
was held.
Yep. Holman will take it. You have to come back over the mark. Moves it with the left to Miller. The socks up. He's short. Right there taken by Anderson. Kick around Duggan into the right forward pocket. McGovern went to ground and that allowed an easy mark for Long.
Let me paint a picture for you. That is one of the best inside 50 kicks I've ever seen.
Ever.
It was amazing. Noah Anderson.
It was low, flat and hard and never went above probably 7 feet the whole way.
And he actually
Fired it inside.
he directed Long where to lead to where the space was with the kick. Amazing.
And then if that wasn't good enough, then just to make sure of it, McGovern slips. Here's Long from 45 out. Oh, he dances on the spot to celebrate. And then he'll find some teammates in red. Put your money on red today. They are up and about the Gold Coast Suns. 8-5-53 to 2-3-15. It is not half time, and it's already in the direction of an absolute shellacking. The Suns lead by 38 points. Listen to this for a second. You would think you're on a golf course. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
Yes, Jack Graham's just made his way back into the middle of the ground, but is not moving fluently at all. I'd say he's got a corky on that left hip, so hopefully he can run out the game.
Some of these West Coast Eagles senior players like Graham, like Baker, this is the exact reason why they've been brought to the club. They really need to just stabilise the momentum that Gold Coast have.
It's a 38-point lead to the Suns, and we're still a long way from half-time. Witts with the tap. Will Graham sandwiched between 2 Eagles, and the umpire will ball it up in the middle of the ground again. Witts and Flynn with the wrestle. Flynn with the tap. And it's a free kick here to Matt Rowell for being held. Handball's off to Noble running past. Noble sends it deep inside 50. McGovern and Ethan Reid. McGovern dropped the mark. Reid won it on ground level. Gave it to Weller. Weller flicks a handball over his shoulder. The umpire says incorrect disposal. And the free kick goes to the West Coast co-captain Liam Duggan at right half back.
Free kicks 10-3 now, or 11-3 rather, to West Coast. It's the Bronx cheer from the home crowd every time West Coast get one. Duggan kicks towards the wing. No mark taken. Spilled down to Rowell off the hands of Witts with Flynn right behind him. Ball up to call. Right beneath our broadcast position here on the northern wing. Right, sends it aloft. Witts gets the fist to it. Jack Graham tries to tap it down for the Eagles. Humphrey might have been taken high. Eagles can complain, but the free kick was there.
Yeah. He's first at it.
Humphrey short to Closey. Shy of left half forward. Puts the Suns back inside attacking 50. Front position was Ethan Reid. Couldn't mark it. Kept in play by Long. Trying to get a hand pass back out of all of that was Ainsworth. They move it towards full forward. The snap on goal just misses. A minor score as it's hit the post, but Holman was very close to adding another one for the Suns score. They're 8-6-54 to 2-3-15. 20 gone in the second term.
McGovern kicks in to Ginbey. Deep in the right back pocket. Very stagnant ahead of him. Goes for a little wander and sends it long. Up to the broadcast wing. Witts in front position. Takes a strong grab opposed to Flynn. Handballs off to a running Noble who leaves the ball behind. Under pressure from Brockman. Shovels it back towards Witts. He's pushed off it. Allen gathers for the Eagles. Handballs off to Dewar. Dewar kicks to a one-on-one at right half forward. Archer Reid in a wrestle with Hewland. And the debutant for West Coast earns himself a free kick for a hold. Handballs off quickly. Harley Reid running past, kicks on goal and misses.
I think it's coming back. It'll come back to Reid.
So no advantage, and the umpire will bring the ball back, as Peter Bell tells you, to Archer Reid. So he has the free kick. Man on the mark, Hewland, is on the pain of 50 at right half forward. Harley Reid probably breathes a sigh of relief. Archer Reid kicks into the pocket towards the lead of Oscar Allen. Misses him and misses the field of play. It's out of bounds on the full. West Coast 2-3-15 are trailing the Gold Coast Suns 8-6-54. 21 minutes gone in the second quarter. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
What have the Eagles got here for their supporters that have turned up in big numbers for the first game under Andrew McQualter? Falls in dispute at left half back for the Suns. Humphrey emerges with it, gets it onto Will Graham. Kicks Gold Coast towards left half forward. That's beautifully weighted. Running with the flight of the football is Long. He marks over his shoulder. Immediately kicks towards full forward. Going up King. Couldn't mark against Edwards. Umpire says play on as the ball hits the deck. Cole looked to soccer it backwards. A hand pass through, Long out of trouble. Comes to Baker. Hand pass to Duggan. Hand pass again to Dewar. Goes on a bit of a run. Hand passes again to King. This is the style of play the Eagles said they would have, but they've turned it over in the middle with a kick into the centre of the ground. It's marked by Rioli. That's from frustrating moments from West Coast. Here's Rioli stabbing it short towards centre half forward. Marked there by Weller. He plays it short again, and Long is marked inside forward 50 for the Suns. He's marked 45 out from goal. He's in line with the right-hand goal post. The inside 50s, by the way, they now move to be 35-10 in favour of the Suns. Marks inside 50, 10-1 in favour of the Suns.
Really impressed with their team defence today, Gold Coast. West Coast have got no options coming out of their back half. They can't put speed on the ball.
In comes Long from 50 out. He's given it a real ride. It's through for another goal for Gold Coast. He's got his second. Gold Coast just continue to build this lead that is now out to 45 points at the 23-minute mark of the second. They're 9-6-60 to the Eagles 2-3-15.
And just an element that doesn't take skill that I've been really impressed with is Gold Coast, their organisation, their communication, their instruction. When Archer Reid had that shot from outside 50 or the mark outside 50, the way they set up their zone, and Matt Rowell throwing his arms around, directing traffic into space, and did the same thing further up the field. They look really connected as a team at the moment.
That's 8 unanswered goals now for the Suns. They've kicked the last 8 since the 15-minute mark. The first term in this quarter, the Eagles have added just 2 behinds.
Out of the middle, Anderson first, hands on it. Try to feed it back to Noble, harassed by Noah Long. A couple of Eagles come to assist Long, and the umpire will ball it up inside the centre square, attacking side for West Coast. Witts bundles Flynn out of it, gets the tap down, and the Suns with another clearance. Weller to Anderson to Holman. Holman leaves the football behind, goes back and gets it. Handball back to Anderson, who sweeps it forward, wanting Weller. It bounces away from him and away from McGovern, and it'll be a throw-in at left half forward for the Gold Coast Suns. It's a 45-point lead for the visitors here at Perth Stadium.
Anderson's had it 19 times, Rowell 17, Miller 14, Rioli 11, Duggan with 11, the most for West Coast. Here's Miller again. Here's Rowell again, receiving Miller's hand pass. Wobbly kick inside forward 50. The defensive mark taken by Cripps for the Eagles. He'll flare it out towards the southern wing. Rioli went up. Trying to stay down here was Owies. Over Rennet, close he gathered. Kicked into the back of Rioli. Allows Ginby for the Eagles to pick it up.
Lost the
and
boot,
pass to Owies. Working it forward again. This is Baker. Hands it back to Jack Graham of West Coast. Into the left forward pocket. He finds Allen. Hard up against the boundary. Marking about 47 out from goal.
It's better.
Giving up on the contest.
Not a bad effort from Matt Owies with one boot on.
He's just been handed that back, by the way, by one of the Eagles trainers. It wasn't a bad effort at all. Understatement of the year so far, although we're only into round one. Oscar Allen needs to convert this. There's a right footer. Kick is not going to trouble anything. In fact, it's out of bounds on the full. Free kick at right full back here. Noble will play on by going across the face of goal to Jeffrey. 9-6-60 plays 2-3-15. It's Gold Coast over West Coast. 25 gone in the second.
Noble got it back from Jeffrey and sends it towards Holman on the northern wing. Weller front and centre, can't gather. Good bump from Hewitt. Ball comes now to Harley Reid for West Coast. Handballs to Archer Reid at right half forward. Good step from the first gamer. Gets it back to Graham by hand. He retreats further now to Cole. There's options inside 50. Cole pops it towards the pocket. Wanted Waterman. Hewlin comes in. Great spoil. Brockman out after it on ground level. Kept the ball in play. Oscar Allen's handball goes straight to the Suns. And Ballard will clear with a high kick out towards Ben Long. Cole as well. Sweeps in front, takes the mark. He's still got options inside 50. Noah Long is one of them. And he takes the mark 45 metres out directly in front. He was on his own for an eternity inside forward 50, Noah Long. Missed on the initial entry. This time Tom Cole spots him up. As Clint Weald had mentioned a moment ago, West Coast desperately need a goal. They're down by 45 points in the shadows of half-time. Noah Long with a bit of a run-up. Kicks from 51 out. It looks pretty good. He's got the journey, but he's missed to the right-hand side. The margin reduced to 44 points. West Coast 2-4-16. Gold Coast 9-6-60.
Still just 3 behinds by the Eagles in this quarter, compared to 5 goals, 1 for the Suns. As Gold Coast exit their defensive 50. McGovern flew at left half back. Then Long stayed down. Thought he'd claimed the mark. Wasn't paid. Went by hand to Weller. Kicks towards left half forward. Leading out in the marking contest was Cole. Couldn't mark it. Got it. Broke a tackle. Handed it on to Ginby. Hard up against the boundary. The opposite 7 in Holman. Both of them with long flowing blonde locks. Then get involved in a bit of a wrestle. Stewart tries to separate them. Umpire goes in and says everyone just calms down. And Harley Reid, who has never seen body contact that he didn't like, also was involved again.
Ginby and Holman arguing who's got a better blonde mullet.
Yeah. Good battle. Throwing in again. I reckon Holman's probably got him in the mullet stakes. Oh, Miller goes, bounces off Cripps. Ball stayed down. Weller was able to kick towards centre half forward. Ginby wasn't able to claim it. The Suns had numbers there and they get a free kick. Going high there was Cole. It's come to Humphrey.
You said it earlier, Belly. You're really noticeable the aggression at the contest.
They're relentless, the Suns.
I beg your pardon. It was actually play on. The umpire had called for a free kick. They are relentless. West Coast having to deal with it. Here comes Jack Graham again. Kicks in the direction of Oscar Allen, who marks leading out towards the boundary line. He plays on towards right half forward. Marked there by Waterman. Running by Brockman. Receives the hand pass, and Brockman is kicked out of bounds on the full. Under no real pressure at that time, with an opportunity to find Archer Reed in the right forward pocket, 35 out from goal. Instead, he's given away a free kick. The Suns will have it deep in the left back pocket. They trail West Coast by 44 points. 28 gone in the second term.
It'll be Hewland to bring it back in for Gold Coast. Takes his time. No one on the mark, so he goes for a little jog and then sends it high to the northern wing. McGovern in front position, rises, can't mark. Holman stayed down, snaps the Suns towards left half forward. It runs away from Baker and Rogers. How will the umpire see this? Throw it back in.
I'm a bit worried about Georgia because Annie sent her a text here. Annie here from ATC, Georgia. Will we meet on site? I'm coming from Yarra Glen. I reckon she might have the wrong text number herself, but I hope Georgia's okay and she gets picked up. 0437 774 774 if you want to talk footy with us.
Rao tried to crash his way through another clearance. Ball came to Weller and the umpires found a free kick, and it will go to the former Docker for a high tackle. Handball now to Jeffrey. Jeffrey from left half forward drives the ball towards the top of the goal square for the Suns. Where's Ben King? He stayed down. Big spoil coming from Ruben Jinby. Knocks it out over the goal line, and it'll be one behind to the Suns. They're 9-7-61. West Coast 2-4-16. We're in the 30th minute of the second term here at Perth Stadium.
McGovern beyond defensive 50. Hutchison marks, plays on quickly, sends it in the direction of Waterman. The kick doesn't have quite enough on it. Goes over the top of Allen, drops short of Waterman, and in between them, Ballard marks. He has it defensively for the Suns. We'll get through some of your other text messages at half-time. It's coming up in less than 2 minutes. Kick back down the commentary wing for the Suns. Umpire spotted a push. It's gone against the Eagles. Dewar's unhappy with the decision, but it will come back again to Weller. Noble offers an option short. That's ignored. Weller instead kicks long and deep inside forward 50. McGovern up in front of King, punches it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Deep at left, full forward for the Suns. They're heading to the left of our broadcast position. What is left in this, the second term, the Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium. Bright sunshine still in about, let's say, almost a third of the ground. It's thrown in. Witts palms it down with the left. Hutchison is able to get it off the deck. Hand pass was meant for Baker. Rao knocked it down, put his head over it. Jack Graham tackles him. Ball comes free again. Hutchison met by Rao once more. Ball up inside the forward 50 for the West Coast Eagles.
Noah Anderson.
Or Gold Coast Suns, right?
Gatekeeper behind the ball. The last minute of play here for Gold Coast.
Witts with the big fist out towards the boundary line. Miller keeps it in. Left foot kick towards goal is out of bounds on the full in the left forward pocket. Jeremy McGovern will bring it back in for West Coast. Deep in the right back pocket. Maybe just enough time for West Coast to go end to end, but they're going to have to move it pretty quickly. McGovern goes long out towards right half back. Witts jumps high over the back, can't mark. Brockman sharked it at ground level. Handball bounces off Dewar and Miller and is out for a throw-in. So on the defensive side of the northern wing for West Coast, as the seconds tick down towards half-time. Witts gets in front of Flynn again. Ball beats both of them. Miller, hands on it, tackled by a couple of Eagles. And that is the siren for half-time. And going into the major break, it's been all the Gold Coast Suns in this first half. They lead the West Coast Eagles by 45 points, 9-7-61 to 2-4-16, kicking the last 8 goals of the game. An unbroken run from the Suns, and they've dominated that first half.
Biggest win of round one so far belongs to the Cats by 78 points. That's in danger of being surpassed unless West Coast can find a way to fight back against the Gold Coast. They have been terrific. Their midfielders outstanding. Gold Coast goal kickers, 2 to Ethan Reid, 2 to Ben Long, 2 to Ben King. Singles to Rogers, Rioli and Miller. While for West Coast, who did not kick a goal in that second term, just the 3 behinds, as they were at quarter time. Waterman and Allen, the only goal kickers for the West Coast Eagles. Results earlier today, Adelaide by 63 points over the Saints, and GWS did it late, but did enough, getting in front of Melbourne right at the end to win by 3 points But here, it's very lopsided. We'll get to your text in just a moment. 0437 774 774. But before that, let's hear from our experts. Dual premiership player and AFL Hall of Famer Peter Bell, Brownlow medalist Shane Woewodin on ABC Sport.
Well, it was almost the total game from the Suns, and I couldn't be more impressed. The hardness, that's the bedrock of your game.
Yeah.
That was there, absolutely, almost unconditional, which is what you want as a coach. But then also the flair, the ball use, the structure, the communication, and their ability to just win territory through clearance domination, and then really not allow West Coast any exit at all. So even when West Coast won possession of the ball, they'd kick it back, and then Gold Coast would win a contest again and push it back forward. It was comprehensive, that first half, Wally.
Absolutely, Billy. Well said. Brutal Gold Coast. I've been really impressed by what they've been able to do in the first half, and again, set the scene, set the standard of what they want to be able to be known for, and certainly around the contest today, they've been exceptional, and they're well led by their leaders, and they've got a little bit more experience, there's no doubt, probably across the board, really, across all three lines to West Coast, and they're obviously learning a new system under Mini and what they've been able to do here, but they've been showing up in a lot of areas, but they've been impressed. I've really loved what I've seen behind the ball and how organised they are. Just to be able to create that front half turnover and keep it in their front half and own territory in the game and be able to score off the back of that, which has been really impressive too. So, good signs early for Gold Coast.
Stats can be misleading at times, but when you come up against Gold Coast, you circle three names in the midfield, that being Rowell, Anderson and Miller. 19 for Rowell, 19 for Anderson, 17 for Miller, and 14 clearances between them off the back of some dominance from Jared Witts. Not just the number of possessions that they're winning, but how clean and the damage that they're inflicting on the opposition was considerable in that first half. So Andrew McQualter, first of all, will be asking for a better effort from Matt Flynn. That's a tough task coming up against a giant in Jared Witts, but also his mids. He needs them to neutralise more clearance situations to turn it into a repeat stoppage rather than Gold Coast being able to just get clean takeaways from it.
It's a great learning curve for the West Coast midfield, and any aspiring young footballer here this afternoon watching as a midfielder, watch what Anderson, Miller and do, not only what they do inside the contest but how they pop and get out and get to the next one. They're super impressive, and they just get from contest to contest, and then contest numbers are very high, but their ability to get outside and win some free ball as well has been ultra impressive.
The other player I want to mention has been Bailey Humphrey, who comes up from the forward line. He's been exceptional just on the ground ball. I noticed there he's got 7 ground balls, and he hasn't spent a lot of time around the clearances, but he's been clean and hard, and that's the thing that's really stood out to me today. Damien Hardwick would be thrilled with that first half. Now, he and the other coaches will be wanting to put a 4-quarter performance in here in round 1 and really signal to the competition, hey, we're a team to be reckoned with. We're formidable. For years and years and years, there's been a lot of talent there, but is this the genesis of some real steel for the Gold Coast Suns under Damien Hardwick?
Absolutely.
Thoughts of our experts, Peter Bell and Shane Woewodin. Helen, you bang on. The biggest win so far in round 1 was Collingwood by 90 points. Showing my WA bias there. Couldn't look past Fremantle's loss. Was spot on. Collingwood by 91 points over Port Adelaide. Still wouldn't rule that out from what we've seen of the Gold Coast so far. Phil from Werribee, good to hear the commentary. Words such as visitors instead of the home or away team. Memories of how things were. Always look forward to the WA commentary. Reminds me fondly of Wally Foreman and cricket in WA so many years ago. Yes, of course, the great Wally Foreman. Our studio that we do Sports Talk out here on Saturdays is, of course, the Wally Foreman studio. Brett in Canberra. Hi, Clint. The Suns didn't make my top 8 as they were too inconsistent away from home. I'd be keen to hear from your experts if the Blues can adjust their system to make the 8 this year. So 2 questions there. The Suns, one of the big questions, could they win away from home? They're going okay at the moment. Can the Blues adjust the system to make the 8 this year? Plenty of questions about Carlton early doors, gents.
Certainly.
I didn't have Carlton in my top 8 at the start of the year, and I didn't have the Gold Coast Suns either. So right now, I wish I had the Gold Coast Suns in there off a very small sample size, and the same can be said for Carlton, although just the injuries and a few other things. Yeah, and I think, what did they end up last year, Carlton, in the back end of the year? 2-8, was it? And now they're 2-9.
Crawled their way.
Yeah, that's right. So there's clearly some concerns there. So right now, again, off a very small sample, I'd be more comfortable with Gold Coast in the top 8 than Carlton. That'd be my view.
Paul from Catherine, what's happened to the might of football in WA? Fremantle got a lesson yesterday. West Coast are well on their way to get a lesson from the Gold Coast today. Early sample size for Fremantle, but they're going to have to be far better than that.
Yeah,
and we know West Coast are building.
that's right. It's completely different ends of the spectrum at the moment to where the two lists are at the moment. That surprised me yesterday by Freo. I expected a lot more than that.
I did tip Geelong to win, and the early start always concerns me for the West Australian teams, playing at 10:30 in the morning. But that's not an excuse for what was a very, very, very poor performance. And an early start doesn't stop you from bodylining the ball and putting your head over it. And the early start doesn't stop you from executing basic skills, which both were really lacking from Fremantle's game. And no doubt there'll be a lot of talk about it during the week.
I wouldn't have been concerned about the loss. I was concerned about the size of the loss and how it happened. I'm with Belly. I tipped Geelong. I still have Fremantle in the top 4. No, I'm in the top 4.
Oh, high.
I know, ridiculous. What was I thinking? But that didn't worry me about yesterday, losing to Geelong. Geelong are a bloody good team, and they're really good at home, and despite Fremantle having a decent record down there, but it was how they went about it yesterday.
And these comments from Justin Longmuir really interested me. I'll be fascinated to see where this ends up. I clearly didn't prepare them the right way, and I'll review my own performance in that. So if at any stage during the week we get an opportunity to speak to the coaching team, I'd love to know what comes of that, because when you think back to it, JL's talked about we weren't ready for the Indigenous All-Stars game, which is fair enough. Yeah. It was early in the season, but to say that in round 1, we weren't ready for that, and maybe that's just about the pressure that Geelong brought. They couldn't absorb any and couldn't inflict any back on Geelong, but there's some interesting comments from the coach that I think it'd be great to get some elaboration on later in the week.
What questioning his program and what I
would say is, like, coaches talk a lot about is it a pattern or was it an event, or is it a theme or was it an outlier? And for me, with Fremantle, I just think it's getting into that theme where occasionally, and too regularly if you want to be a top 4 team, they're not consistent enough in the contest, and the basic skill execution, I'm happy to hear from any Fremantle fans out there if I've got this wrong, has let the team down far too much in the last few seasons, and we expect more now they're an experienced team.
One more on the text line, or a couple more we'll get through quickly. James from Pakenham, silent like a library. Did you save that up over the break? I didn't, because it was just, that's what it sounded like. Hope we've saved that, because...
When was the last time you were in a library, Clint?
Yeah. With my 6-year-old about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, all right.
But yes, true, only because I've got children, Billy. Only because I've got children. It did sound like a library or a golf course. It didn't sound anything like a football stadium for what we're used to. Loving the ABC, always free, always live. That's James from Pakenham. Thank you very much. And I love this from Floyd from Victoria. Tell you what, lads, this is the most excited I've been as a Suns fan in a long time. We are dominating. Couldn't agree with you anymore. If you're a Suns fan, maybe it is time to get up and about. They've promised for a while, and even going right back to their first year, where I'm still convinced if Gary Ablett doesn't get hurt, Guy McKenna takes them into the finals in their first season. But they've been building. They were good last year. They needed to get their away game sorted. They look like they might be doing that as well. And they've got talent everywhere.
They do, and we talk about their academy, and they've produced a lot of talent out of there, and maybe even the number 1 draft pick next year. He'll be there or thereabouts. That's Bodie Hewlin's younger brother, Zeke. But also, out of that crop of a couple of years ago, much was made of Reed and Walter and Rogers. I've been really impressed with Graham. He hasn't had a big output today with the 3 disposals, but he's got a great physique about him. He's really strong, tough player. And you can just see that that's what Damien Hardwick is really prioritising. I want players who are going to put their head over the ball and are going to body line the ball every single time. That's what I really, really value. And you can see that maybe, even with the players that they're letting go, and this is not a criticism of a player like Jack Lukosius, who's immensely talented, but maybe that was an area of his game that the Gold Coast Suns thought they needed improvement in. So, you're very talented, Jack, but we'll let you go somewhere else and we'll prioritise someone else, perhaps.
Yes.
We'll hear more from Peter Bell and Shane Woden very shortly. Clint Wilden alongside Akash Fodada in commentary. Bridget Lacey downstairs. The second half coming up. Will the Suns continue to roll on? Will the Eagles under their new coach. First time out for Andrew McQualter. Their long run of coaches at West Coast winning their first game in serious jeopardy at the moment. That's all to come, but right now let's pause and take the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Eliza Getzi. Australia's vowed to stand by Ukraine for as long as it takes after a virtual meeting with other world leaders overnight. Around 25 heads of state, including Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, were on the call, hosted by UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Just days ago, Russia warned Australia of grave consequences if Australia sends peacekeeping troops to Ukraine. But Mr Albanese says, while it's premature to talk about the detail, an offer to consider sending troops if a peacekeeping deal can be achieved remains on the table.
It would be a small contribution if we chose to do so, but what we want to see is peace so that you can have peacekeeping.
Israel says it's prepared to continue negotiations with Hamas on extending the ceasefire in Gaza. The announcement came after the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met top aides and security officials. His office says the decision is a response to what Israel had heard from mediators on US proposals for 11 living Israeli hostages to be released and half of those who've died. Earlier, an Israeli airstrike in Gaza left at least 8 people dead. Israel says it was targeting drone operators attacking Israeli territory, but a UK-based charity says those killed were volunteers setting up a tent city. Back home, a bushfire emergency warning is in place for the Shire of Gin in Western Australia. Homes on Duffy Road and Airfield Road in the locality of Bambun are under threat by fire now. People in an area bounded by Airfield Road, Brand Highway, Coonabidgee Road, Strickland Road and Tuart Road have been told it's too late to leave due to the escalating fire behaviour. The bushfire is moving fast in a northwesterly direction and is not contained or controlled. A bushfire watch and act alert is also in place for people in an area bounded by Gin Brook Road, Brand Highway and Coonabidgee Road. Meanwhile, residents have spoken of a sleepless night after a bushfire burned out of control in Melbourne's outer eastern suburbs, destroying one house. People were evacuated from Kilsyth and Montrose about 1 o'clock this morning after strong winds caused the fire to rapidly double in size. Most have been able to return to their homes today after a cool change dampened the fireground. Kilsyth resident Sigrid Peterson says the blaze looked frighteningly close to her home.
I was really worried about our elderly neighbours and all the people that I know that are in a wheelchair or older or kids. So I was running around in my pyjamas, just knocking on doors, waking people up like my partner did for me, because our street was just full of smoke and there was embers flying around.
The Fertility Society of Australia and New Zealand is calling on the federal government to do more to help lift the declining birth rate. Bureau of Statistics figures show Australia's birth rate is currently 1.5 babies per woman, which is below the replacement rate. The Albanese government is set to add an IVF therapy to the pharmaceutical benefits scheme, as well as a contraceptive pill and an endometriosis treatment in a new round of funding for women's health. The Society's president, Dr Petra Wales, says she welcomes anything that helps make infertility treatments more accessible.
We welcome this announcement. We think it's very meaningful, but we do think we need to go further to address that falling fertility rate. It's certainly not an easy process, and reducing the cost and increasing the access and the barriers people face will go a long way.
2 veteran NASA astronauts will soon be on their way back home from the International Space Station after a SpaceX capsule successfully arrived at the ISS. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams have been stuck in the space station since last June after propulsion issues with their spacecraft turned their 8-day mission to a 9-month stay. The pair will now hand over to 4 new astronauts before heading back to Earth in the next 2 days. Astrophysicist and cosmologist at the Australian National University, Dr Brad Tucker, says they'll be relieved to be back home.
They were space test pilots. It takes a special person to be a space test pilot. You know, there will be some relief, whether they will admit it or not, that they can finally, knowing that at the end of the week, be home and actually with their families.
And McLaren's Oscar Piastri says he has only himself to blame after finishing 9th in Melbourne's season-opening Grand Prix. The 23-year-old held on to second place for much of the race, but he spun out in the wet conditions while his teammate Lando Norris carried on to victory. Speaking to Fox Sports, Piastri says he was happy with his performance up until he lost control in lap 44.
Pretty much every lap apart from one. Drove an incredibly strong race, and it's just a shame to not have the result to show for it. So, obviously don't have anyone to blame but myself.
You're up to date with the latest from ABC News. For more, you can head to our website, abc.net.au/news.
The news is moving fast. Drop zone. I'm going to dive right in.
The brand new season of The Weekly.
The news will cushion my landing, right?
Wednesday nights on ABC TV and ABC iView.
Nailed it.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Kicks deep inside forward 50. King went up, couldn't mark. Ainsworth had a chance. King went again. Flynn off the deck, worked it to a fellow Eagle in Duggan. Kicked around the body but turns it over. Rioli marking on the 50-metre arc. Just better than a 45-degree angle to the right of goal. Immediately points at the big sticks at the Farmer Freeway end of the ground. New club colours for Daniel Rioli, a three-time Premiership Tiger. Wheels out to the right from 51 out, sends it towards goal, and he has put it through. And they're small in number, but they've got a lot to cheer about, the Gold Coast contingent, as those in red go to celebrate with Dan Rioli. Hands it off to Powell. Bumpy kick inside forward 50. Oh, that's almost a good mark to Edwards. In the end, he spilt it. King was able to gather. Gave it to Ethan Reid, who snaps a goal. Ethan Reid's got two. This 19-year-old having a day out at Perth Stadium. Came to Noble. Jeffrey kicks inside forward 50. King goes up over the top of Edwards, takes the mark, 30 out from goal. He'll start his approach in line with the left hand upright. Ben King looking for his second for the Suns. Puts boots of ball. It never looked like missing. He's got two. Gold Coast have got seven. Here's Rioli stabbing it short towards centre half forward. Marked there by Weller. He plays it short again, and Long is marked inside forward 50 for the Suns. He's marked 45 out from goal. He's in line with the right-hand goal post. In comes Long from 50 out. He's given it a real ride. It's through for another goal for Gold Coast. He's got his second. Gold Coast just continue to build this lead.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Clint Wilden with you alongside a cash vote today. Our experts Peter Bell and Shane Woden not far away from getting the second half underway. Gold Coast in complete control at the moment. They're up by 45 points, 9-7 to 2-4. Akash Fodada's got the other numbers in front of him. Akash.
Yeah, it's been a clearance dominance from the Gold Coast Suns, 28-11. Dominating the hitouts as well, 35-10. Jared Witts himself with 32 of those, had 53 hitouts last time these two sides played. Inside 50s once again all the way of the Suns with 37-14. Some of the individual stat leaders on the ground, no surprise with those clearance numbers. It's Matt Rowell with 19 disposals, Noah Anderson with 19 disposals, and Touk Miller with 17. Meanwhile, for the West Coast Eagles, the major ball winners are all across that defensive line. Tyrell Dewar, Jeremy McGovern, Liam Duggan all with 11. Jack Graham through the middle of the ground also has 11 disposals, as does Tom Cole. So the numbers are very much like the scoreboard in favour of the Gold Coast Suns.
And as much as we've spoken about the Gold Coast midfielders having a day out, I'm looking at some of the West Coast midfielders to try and quell their influence and maybe impact the game. And look, young players, so I'm not going to be critical on Reid, but Harley's just had the 4 touches to half-time. Elijah Hewitt, 3. Tim Kelly, 6. Tim needs to get his hands on the pill or just impact the game more.
Melbourne United on Wednesday will be playing for the National Basketball League Championship. They've beaten Illawarra today 83-77. They lead the best of 5 series 2-1. Underway here at Perth Stadium. Witts wins it down for the Gold Coast. First tap going the way of the Suns. Ruck over the top of it is Humphrey. Tackled to ground here by Duggan. Ball up the call. Thrown aloft. Flynn at the back for the Eagles. Won it down. Rowell was able to emerge with it. Gave it to Rioli. Measures the kick towards left half forward. Will Graham gathers it. No, tried to. Just stolen away by opposite player in Hunt. Tried to tackle him. Thought he was being held without it, Hunt. Umpire thought differently. Hoff now with it at right half back for the Eagles. Kicks towards the southern wing. Courage showing. Going up to take the mark. Will Powell for the Suns. He'll move it short. Find Collins. On true centre wing, just inside the boundary. Puts the Suns into the left forward pocket. Fly came from Ethan Hughes. Bounced down to Noah Long of the Eagles. Gave it to Baker. Baker's kick smothered by Miller. Went back and got it again, Baker, for West Coast. Gave it to Ginby. Measures the kick to Hutchison. He's got it at left half back.
Hutchison goes short to a leading Cripps. Clutches it to his chest in front of Noble. Noble knocked it away from him, but no 50. Cripps goes for a run up the wing and kicks it high towards left half forward. Allen and Hewland. Ball gets over the back of both of them and trickles out of bounds for a boundary throw-in right in front of our boundary rider, Bridget Lacey. Big news there. Key defender out of the game. Charlie Ballard, Alex Sexton into the game. The ball tossed back in at left half forward for West Coast. Cleared by the Suns, but Dewar intercepts for the Eagles and pumps them inside forward 50. Hewland in front of Allen. Couldn't mark. Ball hits the deck. Here's Brockman. He snaps on the left for the first goal of the second half. It's narrow. Tyler Brockman misses to the left-hand side. A minor score to the West Coast Eagles. The first score of the second half. They are 2-5-17. The Gold Coast Suns 9-7-61.
The Suns up the corridor from Jeffrey to Ainsworth, who'll flare it out towards left half back. Dangerous kick. Almost one down there by Hardy. Closed quickly on Hewland, who waited. The ball's been locked in. Better pressure early stages of this quarter with a ball up at right half forward for West Coast. They needed to lift their rating. They're waiting a long time here for Wicks to get across to contest with Flynn. Another ruckman with a telling tap. Hewitt was able to gather and he's been pinged for a throw. Eagles fans won't like that. Will Graham has it again. Free kicks going the way 14-4 in favour of Gold Coast. As the Suns bring it into the middle of the ground and Powell marks well up against Baker. Just shy of the centre circles. In the shadows of the northern grandstand, he kicks towards right half forward. Here's Weller. Weller plays on immediately towards Humphrey. Marks 51 out from goal and he puts it out of bounds on the full. The kick had to be precise to Ben Long. Instead it's a turnover. West Coast will have it deep in the left back pocket.
Hoff, short inboard, finds Kelly. Slow ball movement here from West Coast. Kelly stands 30 metres out from his own goal. Now he kicks long out in front of the interchange benches. Harley Reid, front position. Noble spoils it away from him. Good roving Hutchinson, front and centre. Handball back to Duggan, set him a task. He's wrapped up by Matt Rowell. And last season's #1 tackler isn't letting anyone go. Ball up at right half forward for the Gold Coast Suns. Witts resumes his battle with Flynn. Gets to the front position, got hands on it. No clear winner from the clearance. Rowell taps it towards Anderson. He gives it off to Weller. Weller snaps towards half forward. Ainsworth handballs off to a running Rioli. Kicks goalward, but he misses the lot out to the left-hand side. Out of bounds on the full. No score for the Gold Coast Suns. They still lead by 44 points. 9-7-61 to West Coast 2-5-17.
McGovern, right full back to Hutchison, who's got space to work in the left back pocket. Stabs the pass into the chest of Harley Reid. Harley Reid for the Eagles. Flares it out again towards the boundary line. Duggan marks. Decides to assess the options. Thought about going inboard. Goes down the line. It's short. Not long enough to be a mark. Hutchison tackled immediately by Powell. Tapped it back in the direction of Duggan. They're hot on that, the umpires. Let's head downstairs. Bridget Lacey.
He did play out that first half. It's just a knee concern for the key defender. So interesting that see if Oscar Allen can get off the chain now with a smaller opponent.
Toss back in on the wing. Flynn, second lot of hands to it, but straight to Weller. Weller gives it off to Anderson. Anderson kicks high to right half forward, just inside the Suns 50. McGovern with the fist. Hoff couldn't gather. Toot Miller roves off hands, keeps it low towards goal. Or Ben King missed both targets in the end, and it skids along the turf and through for a behind to the right-hand side. Another behind to the Suns score. That lead back out to the margin it was at half-time. 45 points in favour of the Gold Coast Suns. Tyrell Dewar with a kick in for West Coast. Goes long and high out towards left half-back. No mark. Ball spills to the turf. Noble gathers for the Suns. Kicks into the forward 50, and there's a Gold Coast Sun player standing all on his own. 35 metres out directly in front of goal, and it is Will Graham.
Sometimes luck's on your side, so a shank kick forward inside 50, and it found Graham in, 25 metres of space?
Oh, goodness.
Hasn't hit the scoreboard yet today, Will Graham. Kicked 8 goals last season. To continue the big run of Suns goals for the first of the second half, he comes in, kicks from 40 out directly in front, and he sneaks it in. So the Suns pick up where they left off in the first half, and it's another major to the team in red. That lead balloons out now beyond 50 points. It's 51 points in favour of the Suns. 10-8-68. West Coast 2-5-17. Your experts here on ABC Sport. Brownlow medalist Shane Woewodin, dual premiership player Peter Bell.
But again, it's a fundamental, isn't it? So is it organisation, communication, and these little things that are letting West Coast down at the moment too. And you can't excuse this stuff. Well, he's got no direct opponent as a defender.
There's been a miscommunication, or someone's just collapsed into a contest and just left their opponent in too much space, and they paid the price.
What a lopsided game we've seen so far. As Witts wins it down again. Out after it is Anderson. Couldn't claim it this time. Pressure came from Duggan. Miller going the other way. Hand pass back into traffic. Anderson to Rao. What a combination that is. Inside forward 50. King couldn't mark against Edwards. Ball hits the deck. Rioli emerges with it. Hands it off to Weller from right half forward. Kicks into the right forward pocket. Hoff. Good defensive mark. Diving forward. Up against Rogers. The kick had to be precise as he went back to the middle of the ground. He took it on and found Baker, who marked. A switch of play towards right half back to Hunt. Hunt short. Able to find Owies marking in front of Jeffries. Shy of centre wing. About 3 metres in from the boundary. Glances inboard for an option, then looks down the line again, and that's where he'll head, towards right half forward. Flynn comes up from the side, battles against Ewan. Neither could take the mark. Ball on the turf. Jack Graham gathers. It's been locked into him. Ball up the call. Tricky one for commentators today. There's 2 Coasts, 3 Reeds, a couple of Longs and a couple of Grahams. Ball's thrown up again. One immediately emerges with it. Rao gathers and throws it on the boot. Out in the direction of Rogers. Stealing it though was Long. Sun still with it. They've got options everywhere. Surging forward. It comes to Anderson. Kicks over the top for Miller to run onto. Hard up against the boundary. He just keeps it in. Got tackled. Hand pass stolen by Baker. Hand pass over the shoulder. Oh, that was clever. Edwards just tapped it down back to Baker. Baker's kick beyond defensive 50 wasn't great. Might be okay, though. Allen comes to meet it. He's been tackled to ground. Locked up by Will Graham. Ball up the call. Just inside the defensive edge of the centre square for the Eagles.
Umpire falls over after he tossed it up. The ball lands in the lap of Will Graham, and he's tackled strongly by Matt Owies, and the umpire back on his feet now will toss it up again. More or less the same position on the ground. Just the attacking side of the centre square for the Suns. Whitson Flynn, ball tapped down towards Duggan. He couldn't gather it. Kelly on hands and knees couldn't either. Will Graham bursts out of the stoppage. Baker with a strong smother, diving across the boot. Hunt fumbled it, came across to Flynn. He handballs out to Owies. Goes for a run along the southern wing. Handballs to a fellow new recruit in Graham. Graham kicks inside 50. Waterman! That's some better ball movement from West Coast. Chain of handballs down the outer side. And then Jack Graham pulled the kick back inboard and found Jake Waterman in plenty of space, 40 metres out, directly in front of goal.
It was terrific by Baker, wasn't it? Here on the back half, just to be committed to it, force a turnover and get him going the other way. Looks cooked.
Wayne Baker comes off for a rest as Jake Waterman starts his approach from inside the centre square to break a run of 9 straight Gold Coast goals. Waterman from 45. That's more like what the Eagles needed. It's his second of the afternoon. And West Coast have their third. They are 3-5-23. The Gold Coast Suns 10-8-68. 10 minutes gone in the third term. here at Perth Stadium. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
And I love when they won that possession game, they used the outnumber. It was a clever handball. I think it was from Long to Graham. No, it was Owies, I beg your pardon. And Graham just had the whole forward 50 to work with and put it out in front of Jake Waterman onto the fat side of the ground. He's had limited opportunity today, Waterman, but he's been very reliable from his long shots on goal. That's his second.
There's no supply, have they, for these big keys?
Came in with a calf injury, or a calf question mark, after reporting tightness in the lead-up to this game. He's coming off the back of 4 against North Melbourne in Bunbury in the final of the pre-season games, Jake Waterman. Suns win the middle clearance again. Witts eventually to Rao, kicks towards half-forward. Harley Reid's there for West Coast. Hand pass to no one in particular. Witts got back there and gave it to Rao again. Has to backtrack for the Suns. Eventually able to work it to Ewan. The kick was meant for Butterick. Getting in front, knocking away from him was Brockman. Couldn't keep it in the boundary. But the Eagles fans like the intent. Throw-in. Left half forward for West Coast. Right beneath our broadcast position. Angry umpire unfurls. It's off the hand for Witts. Closey knocked it back to Witts. He's tackled by Reid and Flynn. Ball up again. Both rucks had a touch on it. Bounced away from Will Graham. Duggan able to mop it up to Hutchison for West Coast. On the logo, commentary wing. Kicks high up in the air. Inside forward 50. Decent battle. Archer Reid couldn't mark. Jeffrey might have been taken without it. That's what the umpire says has happened. It's going to be against Owies here. Jeffrey will have the free kick for the Suns in his defensive 50.
Jeffrey goes out to the southern wing where he finds Holman in plenty of space. Holman wheels out onto that left boot. Just a little bit of pressure on the kick allowed Jinby into the contest. Holman backs up his work. Beelines the football, takes it on the chest and chips it out to Rogers in a pocket of sunshine at left half forward. Rogers' short kick almost swallowed by McGovern. Holman did well. Knocked the ball inside 50. Gathered by Ainsworth to Humphrey. Off to Sexton. The sub runs in. Had plenty of goal to aim at, did Alex Sexton, but he snapped it straight into the goalpost. And it's a minor score. Knows his way around goal, Alex Sexton. Played plenty of time in his career as a forward. Would have hoped to do better with that one. The Suns now 10-9-69. West Coast 3-5-23.
Ryan Marrick still yet to be activated by the Eagles. Sexton is on because of a knee injury to Charlie Ballard. Got replaced at half-time. It was taking a while to decide where to go. McGovern eventually short and too short to Cole. King applies pressure. McGovern goes to ground. Cole eventually able to pick it up. Has the hand pass back to McGovern. Dozy-do inside defensive 50. McGovern low flat pass only towards centre half forward for the Suns. Collins takes it, kicks it back towards full forward and King marks. They made a right mess of that, the Eagles, and it will end up with the Suns right in front of goal, being able to go back and have a shot from no more than 20 out. It's in the hands of someone who's already got 2 today in Ben King.
Yeah, they've been red hot on that 15-metre kick all through round one.
I reckon he's umming and ahhing forever there.
Well, they're under enormous pressure, and Jeremy McGovern tried to release it and just missed the kick, and here we are with Ben King with a chance for his third.
Looking to become the game's leading goal kicker. Ben King for the Suns, right in front, puts it through. The Suns have got their 11th. They are absolutely thumping West Coast. 11-9-75 to 3-5-23. Out to another game high. 52 points now. We've gone 14 and a half minutes in the third term.
I reckon it was Collins coming back inside 52, wasn't it?
Yep, was.
Key back, just dart.
Most key backs in that position are having a shot at goal, aren't they? Sam, very disciplined. Passed it off, but I mean, it's been indicative of the way Gold Coast have approached today. Really selfless play. What I have noticed also in this quarter, which is probably stating the obvious because of the decisions, because of the conditions, beg your pardon, is that the game has really opened up and spread from stoppages. You're getting rewarded.
Sam Collins still hasn't kicked an AFL goal, so would have been entitled to take a ping there.
No, he won't with that mentality.
Ball back in the middle. No clean clearance. Harley Reid with a bit of a fumble. In the end, it's Elijah Hewitt who just soccers the ball towards centre half forward for West Coast. Long has his pocket picked. Rioli gathers. Handballs Out into space where Graham gathers for West Coast, kicks towards the pocket. Oh, he's running back with the flight, can't hang on to it. Collins coming the other way, got it off to Butterick. Ball intercepted once more. This time it's Cripps. He tumbles it towards the goal face. And Will Powell is the only player back there. He tries to claim the mark. The umpires confer, say he didn't control it, and it's out for a boundary throw-in in the right forward pocket for West Coast.
Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden and Cash voted up. Peter Belt, Shane Woden, Bridget Lacey downstairs. The ball back into play. Archer Reid stayed down, got possession of the football, gave it to Cripps. Right forward pocket, kicks around the body. Collins, defensive mark in his own goal square for the Suns. His fans behind him, all 25 of them, they've been very loud. Trip across the country will be worth it if this continues on. Kick into the left back pocket to Butterick. Kicks long towards the southern wing. McGovern front position, flying Edwards, couldn't mark. McGovern takes the ball on the bounce. Gave it off to Kelly for the Eagles. Now to Cripps. Kicks into the right forward pocket. He wants Owies getting away from his opponent. Dropped the mark. Tapped it twice to his own advantage. Went over the top of it. Butterick bumped him off it. Ewan for the Suns. Gathered. Gave it to Butterick. Now to Rioli. Hand pass to Miller. Kicks beyond defensive 50. Wanted Holman. Clattered into by Hoff. Spoiled it over the boundary line. Throw in right half forward for West Coast. Again, Hoff has done some good things defensively today, but the Eagles still find themselves trailing by 52 points, 18 minutes in to the third term.
Boundary umpire spins it back in. It's Reid versus Reid in the ruck. Ethan wins the tap. The Suns can't clear through Anderson. Pinched by Graham. Gives it off to Harley Reid. Kicks it high, wobbly ball inside 50. Allen and Newland both get a hand to it. Neither could mark, and the ball runs out of bounds at the junction of the 50-metre arc in the boundary line at right half forward for West Coast.
This is interesting advertising. We've got Victoria just rolling around this stadium.
Ball on the deck. Jack Graham gathers, handball towards Long. It was fumbled, gathered now by Anderson. He handballs out towards Holman, tackled by a couple of Eagles. Ball stolen by Harley Reid. He launches from 50 right towards the goal line. Collins and Waterman. It carries all the way. Harley Reid. Maybe that's the lifter West Coast need. From their young superstar, he pops it through from just outside 50 at right half forward. And West Coast have their fourth. They're 4-5-29. The Gold Coast Suns 11-9-75. 18 and a half minutes gone in the third term at Perth Stadium. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, you sense the anticipation whenever he's around the ball, and he's slotted that from outside of 50. Really ballistic movement that he possesses. And he'll be learning a lot coming up against some of these Gold Coast midfielders, just about consistent work rate and what's required for repeat contested effort. We know Harley is top shelf. But can he reproduce it as consistently as these Gold Coast midfielders? Given a bit of time, I think, Wally.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to learn in this space. We know how big he is around the contest, but certainly in transition, what does it look like? Still very in his infant stages of his career.
The scoreboards have crashed here at Perth Stadium. No score being put up at either side of the venue. We'll keep you up to date if you're about. The Suns have got it across half forward. Miller got it from Humphrey. Miller runs inside forward 50, looking for the immediate response. He gets it.
Yep.
He's got two. Gold Coast hit straight back within 10 seconds from the restart. And they move to be 12-9-81 to the Eagles 4-5-29. The Suns back to a 52-point lead. 19 and a bit minutes gone in the third term.
And that is exactly what we were just talking about. So Harley Reid opposed to Took Miller. They compete in the first effort, and then Miller stays involved and keeps surging forward. And Reid, there was a bit of separation, and Miller actually went to ground. Reid chased the ball and collapsed in, and Miller gets a handball and kicks the goal.
It's a big decision to make for young mids, isn't it, or young players in general. Can I influence or can't I? If I can, I'm going. If I can't, I sit and seal off.
Wasn't a work rate issue for Reid then. It was just collapsing in at the contest, and his player Miller got to the outside and hit the scoreboard.
Archer Reid up against Witts in the ruck. Does well to halve it, does young Reid. Graham trying to burst through. You're not getting through a Matt Rao tackle. Kelly on hands and knees, couldn't get it out, and the Suns go forward. Sock it off the ground and out of the air. The mark is taken. Mark or free kick, whichever you like. And with Jake Rogers at left half forward for Gold Coast. Rogers wheels inside, kicks into the pocket. Ethan Reid on the lead. Can't mark. Edwards does well, gets it at ground level. Off to Ginbey. And the umpire's blowing the whistle. We'll bring it back. Looks like Edwards was dealt with late by Humphrey, I believe. The free kick will come back to the West Coast key defender in the right back pocket.
Game 40 for Harry Edwards. Kicks it towards right half back. 2-on-2 battle. Punched down here by Collins. It's towards left half forward. Rogers tried to knock it on in the direction of Holman. It's gone out of bounds for another throw in left half forward. Bridget Lacey is downstairs.
Yeah, Charlie Ballard just wandered out to the bench and took his place at the back. He's just got some strapping around his left knee. We'll learn the severity later, but hopefully it's not too bad for the Gold Coast defender.
Just saw the Eagles sub, Ryan Marek, up and about, doing some stretching and warming up exercises down below us. The Eagles have possession of the football. Jack Graham hands it back to Hoff. And now from right half back, it comes to Cripps. Kicks down the southern wing. Alan Flew up against Ewan. Suns with it. Comes back again to Collins. Tapped it in the direction of Ewan. Has done well. Powell provided support. Short pass comes its way to Butterick. He busts out of the Jack Graham tackle. Kicks in the direction of Witts, who marks it left half forward for the Suns. He'll pause as his teammates stream forward. The option is short. He uses it to Humphrey. Humphrey from 55 out. Goes long towards the teeth of goal. King! Oh my goodness! That is an absolute screamer. One of the marks of the year has come in round one. It just sat there for him, up onto the shoulders of his opponent, used him as the ladder and brought down a beauty. That is as good a mark as you'd sort of see. That's the sort of thing that you see made into statues around the place. Harry Edwards, acting as the step ladder, could do nothing about it. He's right in front. It absolutely deserves a goal. King looking for his fourth. He puts it through. You'll see that mark on highlight reels for the rest of this season and for years to come. The Suns have got their 13th. 13-9-87 to the Eagles, 4-5-29. It's another game-high lead of 58 points. But that is the quintessential AFL mark. Up onto the shoulders, both hands up high. That's a beauty.
It was a textbook high mark, and Harry Edwards, he would have had an awful feeling because there was too much separation with his opponent. The ball was coming into King's advantage, and Harry Edwards just had to back into the oncoming King momentum, and he got up high and pulled down a specky.
He actually said, come and sit on my back.
Pretty much. He posed the full Guernsey, the number, and King obliged.
A mark of royalty for Ben King.
Had to engage.
Bridget Lacey downstairs.
Yeah, Ryan Marek's into the game, and sadly Jake Waterman's sitting at the back of the bench for West Coast.
That's interesting.
Maybe the calf.
Yeah, perhaps.
Big news there for West Coast. Their spearhead out of the game. Ryan Marek into it. Meanwhile, Elijah Hewitt from a free kick. Tumbles the ball inside 50. Cripps in front position. Ball spilled down to Harley Reid. He's tackled and not getting through there. And the umpire will have to come in and ball it up. About 40 metres out from the West Coast goal. At centre half forward. Witts and Archer Reid wrestle. Hewitt bursts through the stoppage. Around the outside on the right boot. Snaps towards the goal square. Flynn diving low in front of Collins. Takes the mark. Inches above the turf and clutches it to his chest. Looking.
Just exciting play from Hewitt, wasn't it? That's the power that he does possess, and when he builds an AFL body, it's going to be very exciting if he gets some luck with durability.
He's got some attributes, hasn't he?
Yeah, just motored out of the stoppage. And nice mark from Flynn, who's had his colours well and truly lowered in the ruck. This would be nice if he can kick a goal.
Matt Flynn from 15 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Jogs in, pops it through. And West Coast have their fifth. The quick reply to the Ben King goal. But the margin is still well beyond reach for the Eagles. They're 5-5-35, trailing the Gold Coast Suns 13-9-87 by 52 points. Let's head back downstairs to Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, West Coast have confirmed that is that calf concern for Jake Waterman that's seen him subbed out of this game, but we'll find out more after the game.
You'd have to assume there's some sort of awareness or for Jake Waterman, which is not great news for West Coast if you're coming in with a concern and then you're coming out midway through the third quarter. That'll be a real point of interest during the week.
Massive blow for West Coast. Wicks wins it down for the Suns and they go forward again. Rao onto it, just shrugs Liam Baker away, kicks inside forward 50. Ben Long couldn't take it first time, tapped it back to Humphrey. Hand passes for Long to try to gather hard up against the boundary. This would be truly remarkable if it's gone through. McGovern says he's touched it. The goal umpire thinks differently. That is a sensational goal. Ben Long gets his third. It is dead set party time for the Gold Coast Suns. They're taking the screamers. They're kicking the unbelievable goals. And their lead is back to 58 points. 14-9-93 to 5-5-35. 27 minutes gone in the last. In the third, rather.
Plenty of smiles on Gold Coast Suns' faces, and with an amazing kick from Long. I'm not even sure if he was going for goal, if I'm perfectly honest. They might have a look at this, I think. Yeah, it was pretty close from McGovern.
There's a bit of doubt there.
Certainly McGovern immediately thought he touched it. I'm not sure he has.
Did he get his little finger, maybe? We'll find out shortly.
Matt Rowell again from centre bounce. Just bursting through. All clear.
All the players back in the middle.
Well, for a game that's cooked and been over, there's still been a lot to get excited about.
If you wear a red jumper.
Oh, anyway, just for the neutrals. For the neutrals, Billy.
Duggan tries to force the ball forward for West Coast. Hewitt goes back with courage, centre half forward. Knocked the ball clear of the contest, but the Suns are first to it on ground level. Noble bursting through, kicks up towards left half forward. Long in front position, does his own roving, wheels around on that right boot, sets it up high. Ethan Reid at the back. McGovern spoils it down. Past Hunt, gathered on the left here by Closey, and he snaps and misses to the right-hand side. Minor score for the Suns. They're 14-10-94. West Coast 5-5-35. Let's head back downstairs. Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, Matt Owies is sitting on the ground in the forward half for West Coast right now. It looks like it's cramp, but he's really struggling in the hands of the docs and the physios now.
He's in a world of hurt at the moment. Beyond defensive 50 for the Eagles. Goes as far as left half back. Noble got it for the Suns. Turned it on again to Jeffrey. Sends it inside forward 50, and Ethan Reid marks like a training drill. So easily done, Billy.
It's got that look about it at the moment. The game's really opened up and West Coast are losing some competitiveness around any stop play, and Gold Coast are feasting on it as we watch Owies come from the ground with what looks like a full body cramp. Needs a pickle juice bath, not a swig at this stage.
Welcome to the West.
Here's Ethan Reid looking for his third as well. Starting in line with the right hand behind post. It's not a great kick. Have a look to fly off the boot properly. He misses to the right hand side. Minor score 14-11-95 to 5-5-35. They're up to a 10-goal lead now, the Gold Coast Suns, by 60 points. 29 gone in the third.
Baker goes for a run out of the back pocket for West Coast. Kicked it out to the southern wing. Jinby dropped a simple chest mark, and the Suns go back inside 50 through Anderson. Humphrey gathers on the bounce. Handball's out in front of Long. He's hustled out of it by Ryan Marrick, the West Coast sub, who's come into the game for Jake Waterman in this third quarter. As Bridget Lacey told us, a calf complaint for Jake Waterman.
And with the fatigue comes the unforced errors. Ruben Jinby drops a really easy mark and gives Gold Coast another look inside 50.
Ball back into play. Witts palmed it down. Rogers looked to work it forward. Cole couldn't claim it. It's been locked in here by Sexton. There's an Eagle underneath him. He tackled him the moment he touched it. It's Hoff. Climbs up off the deck.
He's a really reliable defender, Brady Hoff.
Done some terrific things today, despite the scoreline. Flynn won it down. Jinby clearing kick towards right half back. Ricochet's off plays, picked up by Holman. Gave it to Rioli, then to Collins for the Suns. Puts it back inside forward 50. Cole with a defensive mark for the Eagles. Decides to play on. A little bit of a run. Goes looking for Long. Stretching, couldn't mark. Tapped forward by Jeffrey. Putting his head over it was Kelly. Tries to drag it back in. Anderson goes to lend support for the Suns. Umpire says we'll ball it up.
It's been a tough day for the West Coast defenders. They've been under the pump. Repeat entries. Creates a lot of fatigue that way.
The Suns by 10 goals. Stoppage in their front half. Kelly picks it up. He's tackled by Rowell. And the umpire will sort it out once more.
Only 8 for Tim Kelly. Very quiet.
Gets a shove from Sexton at the bounce. Does Kelly? Gets a fist to it, knocks it forward to Duggan. Snaps it towards centre half forward. Collins gets in front of Allen. Knocks the ball to ground. Jack Graham sandwiched between a couple of red jumpers. The umpire calls for it again. We'll ball it up. Attacking part of the centre square for West Coast this time. Witts just takes it out of the ruck and handballs forward to no one in particular. Cole does well. Reels it in with the left hand. Handballs out wide towards Hoff, who kicks wider still to that southern wing, and Graham. Fumble, then gets it off to Duggan. Duggan handballs out to right half forward. On the paint of 50, Cripps, low pass inside forward 50. Allen can't mark, has it knocked away from him. West Coast fans want a chopping of the arms free kick. They won't get it, and the ball is out of bounds for a boundary throw-in in the right forward pocket for the Eagles.
It's a great spoil by Powell. Terrific defensive effort. Good coverage for his opponent.
Spun back in. Oh, the Reich had a touch. Long missed it. So too did Hutchison. First time, went again. Second time, had it stolen away by Rioli. Got it on to Will Graham. Kick towards the southern wing. Jinby against Ben Long, and they're both happy to see it over the boundary line for a throw-in.
So just 23 inside 50s for West Coast today. To this point.
How many for the Suns, Billy?
54.
Oof. Spun in. Witts leaning out, palms it down. Umpires spotted an infringement. It's going the way of West Coast. Look at a massive cheer. 17-6, the free kicks at this point in time. Eagles look to move it short. It's been told it has to come back here. Duggan will take it. Eagles, by the way, wearing a black armband today to pay tribute to Adam Hunter, who passed away a couple of weeks ago. One of their premiership players in 2006. Cole for the Eagles. Thumps it towards right half forward. Collins got a hand on it, won it down. Cripps went out after it, couldn't bring it in for West Coast, but the ball in will be about 60 out from their attacking goal.
Matt Rowell, so active in defence, just instructing, waving his arms around, handing over as players run through his little part of the zone. Love that.
Standing alongside Kelly at the moment from the throw-in. Flynn at the bat might have got the telling tap. Umpire again spotted a free kick. It's going the Suns' way this time. It's coming back here to Sexton. Blue boots on. He tracks backward as we hear the siren for three-quarter time. Gold Coast with an almighty advantage at the final change. They're up by 10 goals. 60 points the good, the Gold Coast. 14-11-95 to 5-5-35. It was a 16-point advantage for Gold Coast at quarter time, and they led by 45 at the main break. They've stretched that out to 60 with a quarter to come. For the Suns, Ben King, one of the marks of the year already. I know it's round one. Don't text in. I'm well aware of that, but that was a beauty. 4 goals as well. 3 to Long, 2 to Reid, 2 to Miller. Singles to Rioli and to Graham and to Rogers. While for the West Coast Eagles, Jake Waterman has 2. More concerning for them, though. Jake Waterman might have 2 goals, but he's had to be subbed off with a calf injury. Harley Reid has 1. Allen has 1. Flynn has 1. Repeating, three-quarter time. Gold Coast 14-11-95. The Eagles 5-5-35. Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, News Radio, and on the AFL button, streaming on the ABC Listen app. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
The Socceroos are back on ABC Sport as they try to book their place in the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Right into the 6-yard box and puts it in. It's his second of the night, and it's a well-crafted goal by the Socceroos.
Catch all the action Thursday night on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Ball spills to the turf. Noble gathers for the Suns. Kicks into the forward 50, and there's a Gold Coast Suns player standing all on his own. 35 metres out directly in front of goal, and it is Will Graham to continue the big run of Suns goals for the first of the second half. He comes in, kicks from 40 out directly in front, and he sneaks it in. Owies goes for a run along the southern wing. Handballs to a fellow new recruit in Graham. Graham kicks inside 50. Waterman! That's some better ball movement from West Coast to break a run of 9 straight Gold Coast goals. Waterman from 45. That's more like what the Eagles needed. It's his second of the afternoon. And West Coast have their third. Anderson, he handballs out towards Holman, tackled by a couple of Eagles. Ball stolen by Harley Reid. He launches from 50, right towards the goal line. Collins and Waterman, it carries all the way. Harley Reid, maybe that's the lifter West Coast need.
Suns have got it across half forward. Miller got it from Humphrey. Miller runs inside forward 50, looking for the immediate response. He gets it. He's got 2. Humphrey from 55 out, goes long towards the teeth of goal. King! Oh my goodness! That is an absolute screamer. One of the marks of the year has come in round 1. It just sat there for him, up onto the shoulders of his opponent, used him as the ladder, and brought down a beauty. He's right in front. It absolutely deserves a goal. King looking for his 4th. He puts it through. You'll see that mark on highlight reels for the rest of this season and for years to come.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and on the ABC Listen app.
Earlier today, Adelaide by 63 points over the Saints and GWS by 3 over Melbourne in the not at all National Rugby League. 2 games today. The Tigers have beaten the Eels 32 points to 6, and the Bulldogs have downed the Gold Coast Titans 40 points to 24. Here at Perth Stadium, in the battle of the coasters, West Coast and Gold Coast, it's all those in red. 14-11-95 to 5-5-35. The Eagles. Let's get the thoughts of our experts, Peter Bell and Shane Woden on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it's been a really rounded game from Gold Coast. They've looked terrific at stoppage and in the contest, and they've been really selfless, I think, Wowie, when they moved the ball forward. There's been a lot of opportunities, and we joked about Sam Collins. He was well entitled to have a shot streaming through 50, but instead, no, he laid it up for Ben King. And I've noticed that a lot of times. They're really trying to find a teammate in a better position. So disciplined, hard, good running game also from Gold Coast to this point, and they do look like they're covering the ground a bit better than West Coast, I think, so that'll be danger signs in this last quarter. But Damien Hardwick would be thrilled. He'd just want to finish it off.
Absolutely. Super thrilled for his team's performance today. Just, as you said, selfless, team first, behaviourally outstanding across the board from Gold Coast, and just want to see West Coast fight this one out. You know, don't have to win the game, obviously they're not going to, but can they win something and have little small wins in this last quarter?
And that's what Andrew McQualter will be looking for too. He'll be looking for to learn about some of his players today when they're in a difficult position. Who's prepared to fight? Who's prepared to fly the flag, so to speak? Some wonderful exposure for some of these young mids there to come up against this hardened Suns midfield. And interesting also, isn't it? I think that Tim Kelly's starting on the bench again. You don't read too much into rotations, but he's had a quiet day and starting in the last 2 quarters, at least from memory, on the interchange.
Some of the numbers for you. The Gold Coast Suns leading the clearances 40 to 25, and the inside 50s 54 to 23. All the major ball winners are in red as well. Anderson with 29, Rao with 26, Miller with 23. Jared Witts is up to 54 hitouts. And for West Coast, the disposal leaders on the ground, Liam Duggan with 18, Liam Baker with 17, and Jack Graham with 17.
So both teams have made their subs. Jake Waterman's off, Ryan Marrick on for the Gold Coast. They made it at half-time. Charlie Ballard landing awkwardly in a marking contest. Looked to have jarred his knee. Alex Sexton has been on from the start of the 3rd quarter. 1 quarter to play. Can the Eagles find some fight? Will the Suns roll on? They lead by 60 points. We're underway. Witts wins it down to start. Went straight to Baker of the Eagles, though. Tried to tap it to an advantage of a teammate. Owies gathers. Got a hand pass out to no one in particular. On the deck, the umpire spotted a free kick. It's going the way of the Suns. It's coming to Witts. He'll stand on the commentary edge of the centre circles. With the left boot, he'll put it inside the attacking 50. Ethan Reid out to it, couldn't mark. Miller has it tackled to ground by McGovern. Ball up the cool.
A fair challenge for young Reid in his first game to come up against Witts in the ruck for a little bit of a spell.
A few kilos difference in this contest.
That is Archer Reid. Locks arms with him. Witts, unsurprisingly, wins it down. It went forward to Ethan Reid, who's been tackled to ground by McGovern. I'd say there's 3 Reids out there today. Harley and Archer for the Eagles and Ethan for the Suns. They win the tap again, the Suns. To Miller. Worked it around the body. Kick high up in the air from Ainsworth. Oh, almost bounced through at the last moment. Harry Edwards in the goal square had to stick out the hands almost at a 45-degree angle and just hope it connected. It did. It's gone through for a minor score. 14-12-96 the Suns, 5-5-35 the Eagles, opening 72nd of the final term on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside Akash Vodadar in commentary.
Marek from the kick-in finds Jack Graham at right half-back, and he sends it up to the broadcast wing. Big pack of players. Cripps first to at ground level. Short pass finds Brockman. Between wing and half forward, Brockman plays on by hand to Harley Reid. Draws a man, handballs wider still to Duggan. Pokes a left foot pass inside forward 50, and he finds Matt Owies. The former Blue in plenty of space, 35 metres out, a slight angle to the right.
Good passage of play. Put speed on the ball. Go forward handball.
89 goals in 72 games in navy blue for Matt Owies. Lining up for his first goal in blue and gold as a West Coast Eagle. He comes in from 35, and it's a nice straight kick like you'd expect from a sharpshooter. Matt Owies has his first goal as a West Coast Eagle. The Eagles have their 6th of the day, and they bring the margin back to 55 points early in the last quarter. West Coast 6-5-41. The Gold Coast Suns 14-12-96. Your experts on Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Brownlow medalist Shane Woden, dual premiership player Peter Bell.
Nice moment for Matt Owies with his first goal for the club. Well done, and yeah, probably West Coast's best offensive ball movement moment of the day. Harley Reid involved. What he does, he just sums up outnumber and space and advantage so quickly. Just released his teammate into some space, and Owies, well, you can always rely on Matt Owies to be in dangerous positions in front of goal. He's shown that at Carlton, and that was similar there for West Coast.
The restart. Archer Reid against Witts, neither with a telling tap. Duggan tries to take it away. He's tackled to ground. It's Matt Owies to join Mark Gibson on ABC Perth Breakfast before every Eagles home game throughout the season. 7:20 ABC Perth, here in the West. Rowell again involved, shoveled it out in the direction of Rioli. Oh, stolen by Hutchison for the Eagles. From right half forward, kicks inside forward 50. Allen diving backwards, couldn't mark it. He's able to drag it back in. What will the umpire say here? Ball up the court. Would have been a spectacular mark from Allen, who applauds the forward 50 entry. Harley Reid pushes Miller away from him. From the restart, it comes down. Tua got tackled, lost it. Ainsworth clearing kick towards left half back. Trying to get to it, here's Marek. Eventually he's able to pick it up against Holman. Hand pass to McGovern for the Eagles on centre wing. To Duggan again. Having to deal with it quickly was Owies. Kicks inside forward 50. Scooped on it by Brockman. Broke the power tackle. The hand pass to Long wasn't great. Tapped it back to Brockman. Got a hand pass out. Only as far though as Jeffries. His hand pass back into traffic. Eventually bounced its way towards Rowell. They've worked this well to Ainsworth. It comes again to Weller. Weller at left half back. Getting a ball back inside. Ainsworth kicks towards the logo. Or crashing. Baker attacked the footy savagely. Miller was underneath it. So too Powell. Emerges with it for the Suns. Kicks towards centre half forward. Waiting for it and waiting was Ben Long. Marek didn't wait, but his hand pass was to no one. Allows Ben Long to soccer it forward. Met again. Ainsworth hand pass inboard. It came to Marek. Gave it off again to Ginby. Ginby kicks into the middle of the ground. They can go here, the Eagles. It's in the hands of Owies. Hands it to Harley Reid. Off again towards Hewitt. Pops one over the top to Baker. Liam Baker. It opens up for him. He'll kick towards goal. He'll miss. Frenetic stuff, but it ends in a behind. 14-12-96 the Suns, 6-6-42 the Eagles. 5 gone in the last.
Hewland brings it back in for the Suns. Kicks out towards left half back. Powell and Cripps in a one-on-one. Cripps got the fist in. Kelly first to it. Under pressure from Weller. Kelly drags it in and Weller sits on him. The umpire says, I'll ball it up.
Just lucky there.
Between wing and half forward for West Coast. Broadcast side of the ground. Archer Reed gets in a wrestle with Witts. He's not winning that one. Witts gets the palm down. Eagles have the numbers around the ball. Gold Coast managed to hold it in again, and the umpire will have to sort it out once more. Tosses it up quickly. Witts front position on Archer Reed. Grabs it, hacks it forward. Long and Marrick. Long does well, just knocks the ball forward into space towards left half forward. Sexton gets a toe to it, knocked it away from McGovern. Ginbey gathered, handball to Tim Kelly. Back to Marrick. Short kick to Cripps. That's not 15. The umpire says so. Swooping handball to McGovern. Now Kelly. Forward handball again. Harley Reid takes a bounce. Tries to shake off Weller. Underground handball to Graham. Now Graham sends the Eagles inside 50. Oscar Allen at the back takes the mark. No, he doesn't. The ball hits the ground. I thought Allen had it. Just dropped it at the last moment. And it's a ball up in the right forward pocket for the West Coast Eagles. Thrown up. Witts gets the hand down to it. Allen tried to get it. Hewland crashing through Weller. Had the ball knocked clear of him. Collins with a spiral out to right half back. Southern side of the ground. It's a foot race. Cole and Hoff. Hoff gets there first for West Coast. He's bundled off the football. Cole on hands and knees. Got the ball back up to Hoff. But there was enough pressure from Will Graham and Ainsworth.
I think it's a West Coast kick.
Yeah, free kick going to Tom Cole. So he has it on the southern wing. Just the attacking side for the Eagles. They almost mucked that up. Good pressure from Graham and Ainsworth. But Cole has the ball and he can send West Coast forward.
He does so with a kick into the left forward pocket. Collins punches it away. Ball bounces over the top of Hoff. Unfortunate for him. Comes into the middle of the ground. Scooped up here by Ainsworth. Spinning away from the opposite 9 in Reid. He got it onto Graham of the Suns. Will Graham kicks in the direction of King, who marks it right full forward. Looking to go back and kick what would be his 5th.
Was very unlucky for West Coast. A massive spoil from Sam Collins, and West Coast in the box seat to retrieve it. Got a bad bounce, and Graham for the Suns got a hold of the pill, and Ben King out the back goal side. Not much Harry Edwards could do.
Good players on the treadmill at the moment.
Looking for 5. Here's Ben King. Right forward pocket. He doesn't miss. He's got a 5th. The Suns have 15. 15-12, 102. So they bring up the century in their opening game of the season. West Coast 6-6-42. 8:35 gone in the final term.
And up to 57 inside 50s with plenty left to play. So Damien Hardwick would be thrilled with that. And there's a bit of work to do on team defence for West Coast. There's been lots of areas that they're going to have to really review hard and improve in, obviously, but that's one of them, allowing your opposition that much football inside 50.
It's his 5th haul of 5 goals, but he's never kicked 6, Ben King. He's got some time left.
Back in the middle of the ground. Plenty of tired bodies surround this contest. It's been a warm day here in the West, but the Suns have been running red hot. Witts with the tap. Harley Reid first to it. Jack Graham is down for West Coast. Meanwhile, the ball's with Kelly. Handball back towards Reid. Stolen here by Noah Anderson. Dodges around Reid. Kicks inside 50. Rogers running back with the flight. Found a bit of space away from his opponent. And Jake Rogers takes the mark. 30 metres out, directly in front of goal.
It's a great effort at centre bounce.
I think it was Noah Anderson involved again.
Yeah, compete. Never give up. Want that footy. And then great kick inside 50.
He's up to 33 disposals, the new Suns captain Noah Anderson.
Been very vocal too today.
Here is Jake Rogers. He's got one already. 30 out, directly in front. Just pops it over the goal umpire's hat. The Suns have 16 goals. They're 16-12, 108. West Coast 6-6-42. It's the Suns leading by 66 points. 10 minutes gone in the last term. Let's go boundary side. Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, the West Coast are looking a little bit like the walking wound at the moment. Jack Graham just limped to the bench, and Liam Duggan, the co-captain, replaced him, but he's been on the bench getting some treatment for what looked like a lower leg concern, got some fresh strapping, and Jack Hutchison's also come to the bench looking sore and has been getting some treatment from the physio. So they're struggling in the latter part of this game, West Coast.
Yeah, Liam Duggan looks a little bit ginger out there. Probably cramp, but maybe a tweaked ankle or something like that.
Good bounce in the middle. Witts palmed it down, but Flynn was able to shark it himself, the opposite ruckman. Kicked it towards centre-half forward. Bounced over the top of Long. Ewan was back there. Hand pass to Rioli for the Suns, to Holman. On in turn to Anderson. Here comes the captain for disposal, 34. Kicks towards right half forward. Rogers went to ground. Oh, McGovern's hand pass bounced into Cole. Bounced and stolen again then by Long, and he gave it off in turn to Rogers, who's kicked 2 goals in a matter of minutes and now has 3 for the game. The Suns have got 17. It's a romp.
Well, they bounced off half-back like it was a trampoline then, and wasn't helped with Liam Duggan can't run, so he can put any pressure on. And Rioli was involved, Hewland involved, Holman and Anderson are just getting better as the game goes on. He's just covering the ground unbelievably. And Jake Rogers with a late cameo. What's he kick now? 3 for the day.
3 for the day, 2 in, well, the blink of an eye. The Suns lead is 72 points, 17-12, 114 to West Coast 6-6-42. We've got a crowd figure in, 46,532 with Gold Coast now, a game-high lead of 72 points.
Didn't expect that many numbers today.
I reckon 46,500 of them are pretty disappointed. 12-goal lead to the Suns. Good bounce back in the middle. Flynn up against Ethan Reid. Flynn does his own work on the ground as well. Rao picks it off his feet, gives it to Ainsworth. Ainsworth handball to Closey. Closey kicks low inside forward, 50. And guess who? Ben King.
Here it is.
He's just
never kicked 6. Have I just put the moz on him?
What was the stat, Clint? 5 times he's got 5?
Yep, this is his 5th haul of 5 today. He's yet to go past that. Call him Homer Cash.
Going for a career high 6 goals. Ben King. He'll kick from 30 metres out. 45-degree angle to the left. In comes the Sun spearhead. Chips towards goal, and he's missed.
Welcome, Billy, to the Commentary Curse Club.
Ben King did not seize that moment, but he's had a great day so far. The Suns 17-13, 1-1-5. Lead the West Coast Eagles by 73 points. The home side 6-6-42.
I'm feeling like he's going to get his opportunity.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, probably going to be another chance. Here come the Eagles out of defence. Baker was able to move it on towards Dewar, who stands on the 50-metre arc at right half-back. He's told to move it on. Kicks high up in the air towards the logo. That's met with genuine aggression by Ethan Reid. He attacked the football, marking it high above his eyes. Arms at full stretch. Runs across the logo. Kicks towards centre half forward. There's Ainsworth marking uncontested. Probably too far out to score himself.
Go deep, 1-on-1.
Well, King's in the goal square, and he is 1-on-1. Ainsworth decides he will load up. He'll go as far as he can. King goes out after it. Can't get there. Second time and punch through for a boundary throw-in. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Poor old Jack Graham. He was forced back onto the ground because they called it a day for Liam Duggan. They brought him back to the bench and the ice is out. We're just chasing exactly what the issue is for Liam Duggan, but Jack Graham's back out there again.
Just had the football, Jack Graham. Hand pass to Ruben Jinby, who goes for a run and a couple of bounces along the southern wing, and then he's been legged by Jake Rogers. I think they call that it's an ankle tap in the rugby codes. A bit of a professional free kick, I think, from Rogers there to stop Jinby's momentum. Jimmy goes short to Jack Graham. Handballs back to Jinby. His left foot kick goes up to left half forward. Caught behind was Harley Reid. Brought the ball down to ground. Picked up by Hewland for the Suns. Now with Nick Holman. Handballs off to Noah Anderson. The Suns running in a red wave. It's through Powell. Now Humphrey. Handballs out towards right half forward. Missed Rogers, but he's got plenty of time to gather the football. He handballs to Butterick. Butterick goes into the forward pocket. King's on the lead. Harry Edwards did well. Got a fist in. Ball runs towards the goal line. Marrick gets there first for West Coast. And then under some pressure from Ben Long, he takes it over the goal line for a minor score for the Suns. They're 17-15, 117. West Coast 6-6, 42.
Marrick eventually towards the right back pocket. Took all the time he could looking into the setting sun. So we'll stab it towards Jack Graham. The Premiership Tiger, new colours for a new season. Now with West Coast, moves it to Cripps. Cripps, dangerous looking kick. Noble's able to get in front of Hewitt. Won it down for the Suns. Spilled to Jeffrey, shares it with Miller. Back to Jeffrey, kicks towards left half forward. Sexton marks. He's got options inside forward 50. He'll go into the left forward pocket, waiting for it. Ben Long, and got clattered into as well by Cole. The mark had already been taken. Ben Long gets up. He's a little bit worse for wear. He's got a chance to kick what would be his fourth. Deep in the left forward pocket. Takes a couple of deep breaths. Get told to move it on. He'll snap with the right. Can he curl it around? My goodness, he can. He is an elite kick. What a wonderful finish. Ben Long's got 4. And the Suns, they're out to what is a hefty 81-point advantage. 18-15, 123 to the Eagles, 6-6, 42. Here on ABC Sport, 17 minutes gone in the final term.
And like almost all of his teammates, he's just competed so hard, Ben Long, against taller opponents. He's put defensive pressure on. He's run extremely hard, and he's been rewarded for his work with 4 goals, which doesn't always happen when you're playing that role. But he gets to get a lick of the ice cream today.
We've seen some big margins already in round 1. Collingwood by 90 over Port last night. Fremantle getting thumped at the Cattery yesterday as well, and West Coast now trailing by a game high 81 points at home to the Gold Coast Suns to finish off round 1. Flynn wins the hit out, knocks it forward. Miller wrestles with Hewitt for it. Hewitt toe-poked it towards centre half forward. Cripps tries to pick it up. He fumbles, pressured out of it. The Suns have been relentless around the ball all day, and Jeffrey comes away with it. Sweeps a handball to Weller. Weller handballs to Ainsworth. He breaks the front of the centre square, kicks into the forward pocket, and King with plenty of space. That's how a full forward wants it. The ball coming down quickly. Nothing Harry Edwards could do. And Ben King, for his second chance at a career high 6 goals, will kick from 30 metres out. Slightly worse than 45-degree angle to the left.
Because they're outnumbered at contest, and to win that one inside and their ability to go from inside to out and then just run in waves.
In comes King for goal number 6. He crowns a great day for the Suns spearhead. That's a career high for him. And the Gold Coast Suns have now put 19 past West Coast. They are 19-15, 129. The West Coast Eagles 6-6, 42. And that lead for Gold Coast is now out to 87 points. And plenty of time to make it a 3-digit margin.
Harry Edwards gesticulating to his teammates, just disappointed with the lack of pressure further up the field, because to steal a term from another code, it was a crimson tide, really. Yes. That's what it looks like through the midfield.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, a lot of Suns players just spreading from the contest, and Ben King couldn't believe his eyes with the amount of space that he had.
It has been a rolling tide of red. By the way, on potential records, Ben Long's never kicked more than 4 in the game either. He's currently on that mark. The former Saint. And the restart. There's Witts just getting it down against Flynn. Here's Humphries. They'll go for it again, the Suns. On to Weller. Works it in the direction of King. Getting in front, though, Baker. Left up into the air, won it down, was able to gather for West Coast. Kicks beyond defensive 50. Jimmy couldn't take it. Humphrey gathers it, sends it back towards right full forward. McGovern clatters into the right hand behind post as he tries to punch it through. What will they call here? Officials all converge.
He's so powerful, Bailey Humphrey. How far did he kick that off one step? It's a huge kick. Went so far, no one knows actually where it went, over the line or for a point.
Sending this upstairs, the officials. By the way, it's interesting, mentioned the scoreboard's had the odd problem today. It's got a massive black line down the one at the Farmer Freeway, and it's almost like the Eagles want to redact a fair bit of today's game. That's what it looks like.
Does.
So I'm just wondering here, did the ball hit the behind post, or has McGovern hit the behind post as he's punched the ball through for a rush behind?
Stoppage.
Soft call is no score. And we're watching where the goalpost is.
We get to see a close-up of the redacted line.
Exactly. We've got a big black line in the middle of the screen. I think this has hit the post. I think that's what they're going to tell us here. And that's what it's done. It's hit the behind post, so no score. It'll be a throw-in. McGovern did clatter into the post. There's the official crowd, as we told you. Ball's put back into play by the boundary umpire. Witts palmed it down back in the direction of the goals, but it's tumbled across for another throw-in at right full forward for the Suns. Speaking of Suns, almost the entire ground in shade now here at Perth Stadium. Terrific afternoon to watch footy. A bit hot for those out there. It's dropped down to about 26 degrees at the moment. Witts won it down, gave it to Miller, was able to work it onto Closey, threw it on the boots, gone up and down in the elevator shaft. Working underneath it was Edwards. King provided pressure. Edwards saw it over the boundary line for a throw-in, left forward pocket. Bridget Lacey is downstairs.
Yeah, there's ice on the left ankle of West Coast co-captain Liam Duggan, and also Jack Hutchinson has made no moves to move off that bench for much of this quarter, so clearly an issue there as well.
Toss back in. Left half forward for the Suns. Witts gets in front. Palms it down. Rogers came speeding through. Handball towards Ainsworth. Holman gets it now. He handballs to Rioli, who runs in and kicks another goal. His second of the afternoon. And the Suns have now kicked 20. They are 20 goals, 15, 135. West Coast 6-6-42. It's a 93-point lead for the Gold Coast Suns. And if it stays this way, it will be their biggest ever winning margin. The previous best for the Suns, 86 points against Hawthorn, round 3, 2017.
And I got the team who did it wrong, but my point was this could very well be the biggest win of the round. Stands right now, 93 points as opposed to Collingwood's 91 against Port Adelaide.
Buffeted any pressure from West Coast, the Suns, and been really clean around contest to be able to get the ball outside. Impressive. And what's again also impressive, they're going to the line. They're breaking the tape.
Yeah, they look super fit, don't they? Jared Witts up to a lazy 67 hit-outs.
That's incredible.
68.
There's another one.
He's been good today.
Down after it was Weller. Brockman got there first, though, for the Eagles. Gave it to Kelly. Kicks West Coast towards left half forward. The intercept mark comes the way of Butterick. He's got it at right half back. He'll trot back inside his defensive 50. Anderson's on the bench now, as you would understand. So too Rao, so too Miller. They've got 36 disposals, 30 and 26 respectively, and they're all having a break with about 6 minutes to play.
And Anderson's had 713 metres gained.
Thank goodness. Ewan long down the line. That's a good fly from Jinby at left half back. Rose up into the air over Flynn to drag in the mark. Goes on a run. Hand pass to another Blondie in Marrick. Kicks towards left half forward for the Eagles. Allen tries to mark, got pushed out of the contest. Free kick going against Ewan. Allen will have it for West Coast. Too far out to score himself. Just shy of left half forward. He'll get told to move it on. Co-captain for the Eagles puts it towards full forward. 2-on-2 battle. Stretching for it, Archer Reed. Hacked forward by Noah Long. The ball tumbles eventually over the boundary line for a throw-in. Left full forward for West Coast. Now again, as we said, with 25 minutes gone, trail by 93 points to the Gold Coast Suns.
Chance to reduce that margin and hopefully for West Coast fans get it under a record win for the Suns. Tossed in the right forward pocket. Flynn tried to flip it back over his head. Jaden Hunt gathers at the back of the contest. Left foot snap towards goal. Goes across the face And like it has been all day, it's a number of Suns first to the ball. Powell with the clearing kick outside defensive 50. Baker first to it for West Coast. Spears a low pass inside 50 and finds Elijah Hewitt at right half forward. He's 45 metres out, tucked up against the boundary line.
Close to their best, I would have thought, Liam Baker today for Eagles.
Yeah,
tried hard.
High energy,
yep.
Highly competitive.
21 disposals for Liam Baker. It's Elijah Hewitt from just inside the junction of the 50 and the boundary line. Sets it to the top of the square, and Oscar Allen, second bite, takes the mark. Been a hard slog for Oscar Allen today, but he's managed to reel in the mark from point-blank range. Should pop through his second goal of the afternoon.
We've just had a lack of supply for these big tools. Majority of their forward line too. Less contest.
Allen from 10 metres out comes in, pops it through. It's his second, and West Coast bring that margin back to 87 points. Still the record margin at risk for them at this stage, with the Suns' record win being 86 points. The glimmer of hope to bring that under the 86 for West Coast. They're 7-6-48. Gold Coast, 20 goals, 15, 135. Almost 27 minutes gone in the final term here at Perth Stadium.
Not the ideal start for Minnie McQualter in the chair. But certainly a lot of growth that can come from it. A lot of learnings for these young players. Even some of the senior players too.
Yeah.
That have been in and around.
Just the consistent hardness and contest-to-contest work.
Gold Coast delighted with this performance. It's getting easier for the Eagles next week. Up to the Gabba to take on the reigning premier. They'll win it out of the centre. Hunt tapped it forward. Eventually it comes to Jack Graham. Kicks inside forward. 50. Noah Long not paid the mark. I think he lost it as he hit the deck. Was diving forward. He's still over the top of the football. Rogers holds it to him. So too Noble. Umpire will ball it up. Still concerns downstairs for Jake Waterman. He's got ice on the right calf. The restart. Flynn gathered for the West Coast. Kick towards full forward. Collins comes out from his defensive goal square. Zaba get it away to Butterick. Gave it to Noble. White fluoro yellow boots. Moves it short to Ewan. Then hand passes forward to Butterick again. Steps inside Cole. Left him grasping at thin air. The kick was meant for Ethan Reid. He dropped the mark. Scooped up though by Will Graham. Hand pass intercepted by Marrick for the Eagles. Gave it on in turn to Flynn. Back to Ginby. Moves it to Cole again. Hard up against the boundary at left half forward. Hand pass inboard to Broderick. Runs inside, or Brockman rather. Runs inside forward 50. Now it's to Owies. Kicks towards full forward. No mark taken. Diving out then. No opportunity to drag that in for Archer Reid. It's going to be a throw-in deep in the left forward pocket. 20 goals, 15, 135 the Suns, 7-6-48 the Eagles. What have we got now? Nearly 29 minutes in the last.
Toss back in. Flynn with a hand to it. Rogers sharks it to the Suns. Handball out. Kelly and Graham out after it. Socket forward again. Kelly does well. Pushes his opponent off the ball. Grabs. Snaps towards goal. And it's across the face for a behind. Blemish on the scoreboard again there for West Coast. Minor score 7-7-49. Gold Coast 20 goals, 15, 135 as Noble finds Powell at left half back.
Still 86 points the margin. Equal biggest win if it remains that way, the Gold Coast Suns. So they work it beyond their defensive 50. It comes to Noble. Not sure where to go with it. Turns and sends it back towards full back where Collins waits. Takes the uncontested mark. Puts it out to Jeffrey in the right back pocket. Flares it forward again to Butterick. Hand pass over the top to the run of Jeffrey. They're down the southern wing. Jeffrey hand passing it forward. Holman pops it back by hand to Butterick once more. That's come off his shin as he looks to kick it up into the air. Ainsworth was strong enough up against Baker. Was able to mark, crash to ground on the logo. Southern wing. Time continues to tick away. Still time for another one here for the Suns. They're looking to push past the 86-point margin and record their biggest ever win. And coach, they'll be more happy about how they played today as Jeffrey kicks in the right forward pocket. Big pack up, off hands. Humphrey drags it in, lost his footing under pressure. Still manufactured a hand pass forward. Flick off the ground. Ethan Hughes. Thinking about my old Freo days. Instead it was Ethan Reid tried to take it forward. It's going to be a free kick against Brockman here. It'll come back to be taken by Weller. That's a blast from the past, playing with South Freo now.
And Hardwick's taken the opportunity to rest Anderson, Rao, Miller, Rioli for, a good spell late in this last quarter in preparation for next week.
So Weller has it. Deep in the right forward pocket. Speaking of former Dockers, Lockie Weller. Here he comes. Lockie Weller for the Suns. He's put it across the face. It's kept in play, though. Eventually, they're going to rush it through here, the Eagles. They will, which makes it an 87-point margin. 2016-137 to 77-49. The Suns over the Eagles. 87 points that lead. 31.5 gone in the last.
Dewar to bring it back in for the Eagles. Goes for a bit of a run into the right back pocket. Kicks long and high out towards run-off back. Flynn, good grab at the front of the pack. Had his coloured lowers today about Flynn, but that's a good grab from the Eagles ruckman. Looks up the wing for a target. Kicks high towards Graham and Archer Reid. Humphrey comes in from the side, takes a good grab, and the siren sounds. It's a record win for the Suns out west. They kick off their season in emphatic fashion. They beat the Eagles by 87 points.
About it. It is a massive round one win for the Gold Coast Suns, the biggest margin in the club's history. You start to ask the questions, could this be the year they paint the AFL red? They led by 16 points at quarter time, by 45 at half time, by 60 at three-quarter time to win by 87. It's a huge start to the year for the Gold Coast Suns as they search for their first ever finals appearance.
We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We are one in the red, gold and blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold up the cup. Run, run, run all the way. Hey! We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky, where the team will never say die.
So for the Gold Coast Suns, an emphatic victory, 6 goals to Ben King, a record for him. Ben Long added 4, an equal record haul for him. 3 goals to Jake Rogers, a record haul for him. 2 goals to Ethan Reid, 2 to Dan Rioli in his new colours, 2 to Touk Miller, and a single to Will Graham. They were outrageously good Gold Coast. For the West Coast Eagles, couple to Jake Waterman, though the concern will be about the calf injury that saw him come off the ground and subbed out in the third quarter. 2 to Oscar Allen and singles to Harley Reid, to Matthew Owies and to Matt Flynn. Gold Coast victorious 20-16-136 to the Eagles 7-7-49. 87 points the margin, the second biggest margin of round one, behind Collingwood's 91-point win over Port Adelaide, and of course in third, Geelong's 78-point win over Freo. Results earlier today: Adelaide by 63 over St Kilda and GWS by 3 over the Demons. Now experts here at Perth Stadium, Peter Bell and Shane Woden. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. That was as emphatic a start to a season as you could have hoped for the Gold Coast Suns, and some real concerns. We knew West Coast we're going to build. But after a pre-season of some promise, with Richmond and North Melbourne accounted for, that's terribly disappointing for their fans who turned out today.
Yeah, emphatic is the perfect descriptor for what we've seen from Gold Coast today. And look, they have a lot of talent, and Damien Hardwick was emphatic that the talent was almost there. And they've added to that with Rioli, who was pretty good today, and Noble, and that signals an intent to play fast footy from half-back, similar to the glory days that Richmond experienced under Damien Hardwick. But it was just a really well-rounded performance. And, Wowie, you and I have talked about some of the skill and some of the hardness, but I wanted to paint a picture of how connected the Suns were today. They were instructing, they were really organised in defence, they were running really hard both ways, and I think that's what Damien Hardwick would be really thrilled with. From even up here in the broadcast position, you could hear Suns players instructing each other in offence and defence, and particularly their leaders, Rowell, Anderson, Miller, just so strong in that regard. So that's what coaches are looking for. They're looking for talented young players to spend a bit of time together and then really understand the game, all phases of it, and get out there and demand a really high level from your teammates. And that's what I think the Gold Coast Suns showed today.
Yeah, they certainly executed that, didn't they? And I've never seen that before too, Billy, with Gold Coast and how connected they were, particularly around team defence and what that looks like, but just keeping each other accountable in those areas. So, but they were impressive. I didn't probably expect only a 90-point drubbing. I did expect a competitive outfit, but they stood in the middle of the ring and went whack very early and put West Coast on the back foot, and they didn't really fire a shot, West Coast, today, which, because once the Suns got the run, it was really hard to stop.
Yeah, there's that long road ahead for West Coast, and they'd be disappointed, obviously, for the margin to be what it was today. But a wonderful, and this is going to be painful for the players and the coaches and the supporters, I get that, but a wonderful learning opportunity for Elijah Hewitt, for Harley Reid to get in there, watch your tape, and just watch how those Gold Coast midfielders got to work and their ability to get contest to contest, their ability to continually put their head over the pill, to bodyline the ball, to be clean under pressure, to buffer pressure and absorb it, and then also to put that swarming pressure on West Coast when they had the footy as well. So what a wonderful template to get to work off to develop your own game with some of those talented young West Coast midfielders.
Absolutely. They're impressive. Hopefully it's the start of something for them now. Again, on the road, I think they were 2-9 or something on the road last year. Potentially Gold Coast, but that was really
2-10.
2-10. They got those wins late in the season. And we were talking off air, and Matt Rowell was excellent today, and it'd be very, very difficult to split Rowell, Anderson and Witts. That's a really difficult one, and you can throw Miller in there, and Ben King's kicked 6 if you don't mind. But you just hope that you get, for this team, Matt Rowell and the team get the nourishment of winning, that'll lead Rowell to say, no, I'm staying. I see my future here at the Gold Coast Suns. I think we can do something together, and that'll be a wonderful fill-up for the club as well. So hopefully more performances like that. Or they don't have to win by that, but just the rounded competitive nature of their work will lead Matt Rowell to committing to the Gold Coast Suns, because I see some very bright things ahead, pardon the pun, for the Gold Coast Suns.
Still getting over just how impressive they were, Gold Coast. We thought for a while it might be coming, and then last year showed some glimpses, and now with that performance, if they can carry on, goodness me, they could do anything. And I'm like you, Billy, I did not have them in my 8, and I'm like having
I'm regretting that off one round.
That's right. Nothing like a very early reassessment when it comes to things, a round 1 reassessment. And even more impressive when you think about that they weren't able to get that. This isn't a side who we would have expected to have had a run in the opening round. They didn't get that against Essendon because of Cyclone Alfred, but they then have the challenge, of course. They're going to have a bye next week before they face Melbourne at the MCG. As I mentioned during the coverage, it doesn't get any easier for the West Coast Eagles. They're off to the Gabba for the early game on Sunday against Brisbane. So after being belted by 87 points, West Coast next week will have to face the reigning premier. The Suns are making their way down into the rooms. Bridget Lacey is down there. This will be a very happy camp, the Gold Coast Suns. They've come across to the West and they've really made a statement to the rest of the competition. They'll have to wait another week to see what they can do at the MCG, but there'll be plenty of focus on that round 3 game. Bridget Lacey, what's it like down there in the Suns' rooms?
Yeah, there's not a massive crowd down here, but those that are here are making plenty of noise. Coach Damien Hardwick looks very, very happy watching on as the players file their way in. While just picking up their waters. Actually, this might be a little bit... if they start shaking these around, it won't make as much mess. There we go. Daniel Rioli and John Noble just copped it in the middle with the sports drink. There we go.
We are the sons of the Gold Coast Sky. We are the ones in the red, gold, and blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold up the cup. Run, run, run all the way. Hey! We are the sons of the Gold Coast Sky with the team that will say
Charlie Ballard was in there singing the song with his teammates there. Hopefully get a player very, very shortly.
Straight back down to you, Bridget, when we grab someone from the Gold Coast Suns. Akash Fodadar has gone downstairs into the West Coast rooms. We'll try and get you someone from the Eagles as well. Repeating full-time in the West, the final game of round one in front of 46,532 fans. About 32 of them were Gold Coast supporters, but they're going to be the delighted ones. The Suns win by 87 points, 2016-136 to West Coast 7-7-49. The concerns, to make matters worse for the Eagles, on top of the belting, Jake Waterman, who was just so important to them. As I mentioned, 53 goals last year. And then, of course, 4 goals in the build-up to this one in the pre-season against North Melbourne. They'll now find himself possibly having to miss a game or two after being subbed out with a calf injury. And Liam Duggan had to leave the game as well. So there are more problems for the West Coast Eagles that they're going to have to deal with. 0437 222 774. Hang on, that's not our text number. Let's, in the meantime, go downstairs and join Bridget Lacey again. Bridge.
Yes, thanks, Clint. Lucky enough to have Daniel Rioli, who is covered in sports drink at the moment. He was a bit worried about putting the headphones on, but I said that's okay. We'll give him a clean. Daniel, that's a beautiful way to start your journey at your new club.
Yeah, it's a great way to start. I mean, proud of the boys. I think the boys are real hungry this year. Obviously, you know, past years have been sort of disappointing, and we really nailed our game plan today, and we just wanted to play fast and just play the way we wanted to play. And it's not perfect, the game's not perfect, but we just wanted to get the ball forward as much as possible, and I think we got the job done by doing that.
Obviously, you've had a bit of an interesting start to the season with the cyclone over there, and you were meant to play Essendon, didn't happen, and then you fly all the way over here. What was the prep like?
Yeah, it was interesting, wasn't it? We just wanted to play footy and got postponed, which is not ideal, but the prep was good. Like, obviously we had a nice little hit out against each other, and the vibe was positive amongst the group, and I think it showed today as well. So the boys are happy, hungry, and competitive as well. So it doesn't matter if we didn't play, because now we've got our opportunity, and we look forward to, obviously we've got the bye now, so, and then we got Melbourne, I think, after that, so another away game, but to kick off a nice win away for the first time, I guess, because I think we've been struggling in that area, but I'm so proud. I mean, the boys are real hungry this year.
You mentioned that you'll be catching up a bit on the history of this club and stuff. How'd you go with the song just now? Was that all flowing nicely for you?
No, I'm going to be honest. I had no idea what the words were. So I was looking at Nodes, and he knew the whole thing, and I was like, "What are you like? How do you know this is?" He's been practicing, so I think I need to practice, get in the bathroom or something, and start practicing. But I think it'll come, because the boys are pretty hungry, and hopefully a lot more wins, and I need to learn the song for sure.
Yeah, I think you'll be singing it a bit more this season. I'll send you upstairs for some more questions. Clint Wheeldon, Akash Fodadar, Peter Bell and Shane Woewodin.
Congratulations on the win, Daniel. Can you just take us back a little bit? And what was the big attraction for you to make the move to the Gold Coast?
I think, obviously, I spent 9 years, I think, at Richmond, and I just needed a change in my lifestyle, really, and because I'm getting a bit older now, and my fiancée Paris, we both wanted to change, and we want to have kids soon, very soon, so we wanted to explore our options, and we found ourselves at Gold Coast, and I think Dimmer's the main reason, obviously, being here, and a lot familiar faces here with Sean Grigg, Dimmer. We've got a lot. So even Ben Long, so he's one from the NT, and obviously we've got a few cards on the table where we have a few games in Darwin, and that I can't go past that.
What does Damien Hardwick mean to you, Daniel?
Oh, it means a lot. I mean, I remember getting drafted. He, let me into his house for 2 years, and we've created a massive bond from there. So I got to see a side of him where not many people get to see, where he's just a family man at home, and I get to see both of it, so family orientated and also the footy side of it. So I'm very blessed to have him, in my life, and it's a full circle moment.
And you mentioned that you wanted to play fast, and that's certainly what we expected from most teams coached by Damien Hardwick. But what impressed us up here was how hard you guys were, just unconditionally head over the pill, led from the midfield out, and it must be something that Damien is really, really clear on, the expectations there.
Yeah, we had a massive, game plan coming into this game, and I think we have a lot of blokes that, don't take a backward step in Rowley, Noah Anderson, these guys, Tuke Miller. Everyone, from... everyone on the team really put their, head down, and I think we just wanted them to see Ghost, and with numbers flying into the contest, and I think we did that very well today.
Congratulations, Daniel. Shane Woden here, mate. Can you elaborate a bit more what the game plan was? What was the key focus for the group today?
I think the game plan was obviously nullifying what their weapons were, and obviously we haven't really had much to do with West Coast, but we saw a bit of vision there, and I thought we executed it well. I think they wanted to move fast, and I think our setup behind our attack was pretty good, and we wanted to just be a front half team and keep the ball in our front half and make the most of our opportunities in kicking goals. And I think it showed. I think we kicked about 20 goals, so that's it's massive. Yeah,
it'll certainly highlight your front half, and we were talking about it up here about the connection piece, and I know you practice a lot about team defence throughout pre-season, but today that looked like everyone on the same page. Well led by your skipper and how the direction and keeping each other accountable in that phase of the game, but really well connected from a playing group today.
Thanks, mate. I think everyone just just play their role. It's not about kick marks or handball and, having a lot of the footy and, being all flashy in that. So I think the boys just know their role. It doesn't matter if you have 5, 10, 15 touches and whatever. So I think the boys have really nailed their role, and I think if you nail your role, we're going to make the most of our opportunities, and we're going to win a lot more games.
Daniel Rioli with us on ABC Sport. Daniel, Clint Wilden here. Where were you when Ben King got upstairs? What did you make of that?
Oh, how about that? Oh my God, he sat up there for about 3 seconds. Hey,
it's amazing.
Yeah, he's a special player. It reminds me a bit of Jack Riewoldt. So good to see Kingy fly, and I don't think he was going to stop talking about it. So
with good reason, too. Particularly also 6 goals for him. Now you've spent time. You mentioned one of them, but with some very impressive forwards at the Tigers. How do you rate this group you've got at the Gold Coast?
Yeah, we're all pretty nippy. And I think, like I said before, we're all just so hungry to win the contest and to win games. Now, obviously, our past history, we haven't been so great in areas, and I think the group are just hungry and competitive now, and especially our small forwards. So we wanted to just keep it in our front half, and I think by them pressuring the boys up, or pressuring the opposition up the field, makes our job, defenders, a lot more easier with reading the play. They're special players. I think everyone got the job done today.
You can't do anything about it, but how frustrating. You have a bye because of Cyclone Alfred, not your fault. Then you have to come across the West. You're putting that sort of performance, and then you got a bye again next week.
It's not ideal, but we'll manage. I think we need a little rest, and we'll go back to Goldie, and hopefully the sun is shining there, and we'll rest up, and then we'll look forward to the bye, and then we got Melbourne, and another challenge there, but we're looking forward to it.
You'll be back at the
Daniel's got to
MCG.
head into a meeting now, unfortunately, guys.
Good on you, Daniel. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, guys.
It'd be fascinating for him to be back at the MCG, a place he's had such success at for the next time they go around.
Two things from that interview. One of them was how he talked about setting up your defence behind your ball movement. That's what most clubs want to do, but the faster you go with your ball movement, the more challenging it is to set up the defence, and they did that so well. When West Coast tried to bring the ball back out of their defence, all the exits were sealed off, which means all of those defenders have moved up with the ball movement behind and just picked off the spare West Coast players. The other thing was how organised they were, and I want you to picture a big red blanket or a small red blanket sometimes as the game dictates, and that's what it looked like. That's what we're talking about, connection. Wherever they needed density, everyone was connected. There were no one who was slacking off, leaving a hole in the blanket that they're trying to create over the density of the ball and, 40 or 50 metres away from it.
Which I think's been an Achilles heel over the journey
Yeah.
with Gold Coast. So, no, they were really impressive in that part of the game.
Here's an interesting question. I'll ask you for your thoughts. 0437 774 774. I always find this fascinating that we've just started the year and we're already talking about who might go somewhere else. We've seen it with Luke Jackson. We've already seen it with Harley Reid. But the question comes in from Brendan from Hobart. Would you guys consider trading Harley Reid for a bounty of draft picks or keep him and pay the reported money? What do you think would be best for the Eagles? It's an impossible question at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's
an unknown one.
Yeah.
I don't know what the camps are thinking.
I think West Coast, and you'd love for Harley to commit and stay long term, which he may well do. If he decides to leave, they're going to get a lot of first-round draft picks or a combination of players and picks. So they'd be disappointed if that happens, but they're going to get well and truly paid.
Compensated, yep.
They do have a good record of keeping players that they want to keep, outside of Chris Judd, who actually did sign on for one more stint, as we remember. Generally the Eagles do seem to keep them for at least that one extra stint before they depart. I like Floyd. Surely we're a lock for finals now, lads.
Well, I tell you
Suns
what,
fans should be up and about. If you're not up and about after that,
look, we need a bigger sample size, obviously, but they couldn't have done any more today. Is the point? Look, against a team that is probably going to struggle, so we note that. But hopefully you got an idea through our words of what we liked about the performance, not just the high score and everything else, but the connection between the players and how they seem to be all on the same page, Wowie.
Yeah, they play well up on the coast, but certainly when they travel, it's been a difficult one for them. So if they can eradicate that, start to win more games away, I think they'll be certainly in the hunt.
well, they've got 4 of their first 5 away, the Gold Coast Suns, but they've begun impressively today. Let's head down into the West Coast Eagles rooms. Akash Fodadar is down there. Akash.
Thanks, Clint. I've got Ruben Jinmi with me. Ruben, tough loss. What's your, initial reflection on that?
Yeah, it was definitely a tough game today. Not how we wanted to start the season. We were coming in pretty promising, I think. We've shown so much growth with Minnie coming in and a few good performances in the pre-season. So, we definitely let our fans and our teammates down today, but we'll improve from here.
So where do you, I know it's pretty hard, so close to the final run, but where do you think it went wrong?
There was a lot of things we could fix up there. Midfield outfit's pretty good, so it was coming in pretty hot, and I was down in the back line. We didn't do our best defending, like King and young Reid got off the chain a bit, taking nice marks, and their smalls are also getting goals side of us and ripping back to goals pretty hard. So there's definitely a few areas to improve on, but we'll butter up next week and look into how to improve.
Has there been any words from Minnie when you first come off today, like any initial message and reaction to the loss?
Yeah, we had a group chat and he said, we're just all in this together. It's not all doom or gloom, it's one game. It's definitely not how we wanted to start the season, but it's a long season, so we've got a long way to improve. Still a young list, so we're definitely going to develop as the season comes.
I'll send her upstairs to our team. We've got Clint Wilden and our experts, Peter Bell and Shane Wowerden.
Ruben, what was the sort of communication at particularly half-time between the defenders and the mids, just around how you mentioned the ball was coming in hot? Were you able to have a conversation across the lines?
Yeah, mate, definitely. We just asked to try to stop them coming out the front and a bit more pressure on the footy, because if we can get a bit of pressure on the footy, that's when boys like Gov and H really read the ball well and we can rebound off that. I think the pressure was a bit down, so they were just coming out too easily, and then we were a bit on the back foot, so we couldn't defend their leads as well as we would have liked.
And one of your defensive teammates who I think is a really balanced player in his ability to contribute to offence, but just also how hard he defends and how much he helps out his teammates, and that's Brady Hoff. He was very solid today, and you must be rapt to have a player in the back 7 who sacrifices his game for his teammates as much as he does.
Yeah, mate, Hoffy's awesome. He's probably one of the first picked every week. We love playing with him. We really saw what he did last year, shutting down the best small forwards in the comp. And I think this year he's getting less run with roles, but he's still going to do his defensive thing, as he also runs off and he's got a great leg. So, love playing with Hoffy down there, and he's always so reliable.
Hey, Rubes, it's Wowie here, mate. How are you?
Good, Wowie. How are you, mate?
Mate, I'm well. It's a good wig you've got going there at the moment.
Oh, I don't know about that. It's getting a bit average.
Average?
Actually had a haircut during the week, so I wasn't flapping around as much, but you probably couldn't tell.
Jeez, got some real colour in that one too. It's impressive. Mate, Minnie's obviously been great for you. He's obviously settled you into the back half. When Minnie arrived, was it straight away that this was what your role was going to be, particularly early in 25?
I think so. I think I transitioned into the back line probably the last month or so of last year.
Yep.
I just wasn't able to impact in the midfield as wing as much as I was like, but I'm enjoying my third tall role down there. I enjoy getting up the ground, trying to go for a bit of a run and a bounce, which I probably didn't get to the last quarter when the game was done, but going to keep on improving on that. So, yeah, you can play on that taller or smaller type and hopefully run off.
And what's Bakes and Graham and these senior players who have come from interstate, what have they given the group and particularly you in that back half?
Yeah, I have a lot to do with Bakes down there. He's super tough. We love playing with him, and obviously him and Fridge have both played in a few flags, so they're super experienced and know how to win games. And also Matty Owies, he was probably Carlton's best small forward last year, so having his experience and I guess adding in those three middle age for footy blokes has been really good for us, and we can hopefully build off them.
Ruben, one area of the game that there seemed to be a fair gap in, particularly around the midfield, was just around the contested ball and ability to absorb pressure, buffer pressure. And we spoke about that opportunity for some of your younger midfield teammates to really learn off a pretty seasoned outfit in Gold Coast.
Yeah, I think boys like Raul and Anderson really set the tone with how hard they go. Obviously, Raul's that super good contested player, and Anderson's, he's their skipper for a reason. He's had an awesome last couple of years, so definitely no excuse. We're going to come up against good midfielders every week, but we're still a young list, a young midfield, so we'll definitely grow and improve as the year continues.
I'm not sure, Ruben, it's Clint Wilden here, that Shane Woewodin's got any right to have a crack at anyone about having some colour in their hair, do you, Shane?
Yeah. No. He's as impressive at the moment.
No, very impressive. Blokes play better when they've got a bit of colour in their hair. I've always thought that. Hey, Ruben, last one for you, and appreciate your time. How do you go about resetting for the Premiers next week?
Yeah, it's going to be, we're going to have a lot of reviewing definitely through the week because I guess there's a lot of stuff in that game we're not happy with, but I guess that's footy. Day of tomorrow, we'll come back in Tuesday, review the game hard, a bit of honesty, but we'll just put that to the side and really look forward to next week.
Thanks very much for chatting to us. No, it's been a tough day. Best of luck next week.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Ruben Ginbey downstairs. I only say that because I'm starting to lose all colour from my hair. It's becoming a real concern as it grows all the way back. It was not that long ago. It was a nice dark brown colour.
It's a lot lighter than when I used to seeing it,
yeah.
Ruben.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's a fair comment. Mine's getting a lot lighter for different reasons as well. Peter Bell and Shane Woewodin alongside myself, Clint Wilden, and Cash Photo, a great job downstairs in the Eagles' rooms. The results today, Adelaide by 63 points over St Kilda. The Giants, well, it took until the last minute of the game for Lockie Keefe to kick the goal that saw them sneak home to win by 3 points against GWS. And here in Perth, Gold Coast, way too good for West Coast, winning by 87 points. I just wanted to touch very briefly on Ben King. That mark is just as good as a mark as I've seen in a long, long time. And then to finish that off with 6 goals today. We know he's been a leading goal kicker numerous times for them. 55 goals last season. He's always around the mix. But if he has one of those 70 sort of goal seasons alongside the likes of Ben Long forward, with the service they're going to get from the midfield, they could be frightening, Gold Coast.
Yeah, he probably enjoyed the best service that he's going to enjoy for the season today. There was a lot of space, and we heard Ruben talk about that as well. Just the Suns players out the front, no pressure on the ball at times. So Ben really cashed in. But what I liked about his game today was his timing on his body contact was really good on young Harry Edwards, and it'll be something for Harry to learn from as well. So got his goals a few different ways, the higher marks coming up at the footy. And then there's the other player that you have to remember as well as young Jed Walter, who's going to be a big power forward for a decade for the Suns. So when does he come in? What does that do for King as well? So they want to get that spread of goal kickers, which they had today. Ethan Reid was another one, and then all the smalls as well, and Bailey Humphrey is that sort of power sort of striker who can go into the midfield as well. They're absolutely stacked. So, yeah, they keep the attitude right and the work rate right and that contested footy right. Who knows what's possible.
They've got Mac Andrew to come back as well.
Right,
David Swallow to come back as
Sam
well.
Sam Flanders, another one of them. Really good player and their best runner. So, yeah, lots of players competing for spots. It's pretty healthy, isn't it?
Good luck at match committee.
Yes, indeed. Well, for West Coast, Liam Ryan, possibly for next week. There was a question mark about the hamstring, why he missed this week. Elliot Yeo is another 5 to 7 weeks away, and perhaps they might have Waterman and Duggan added to that injury list as well.
Don't want to put the cart before the horse, but it's going to be a difficult one around the Waterman. You know, you come into a game with some doubt with a soft tissue or calf, as it were, and then you don't finish the game with the calf. That's a really difficult position for your high performance and medical staff to be in.
Mick sums up, I reckon, what most Eagles fans would be thinking today. I thought West Coast was supposed to be on the improve. 7 goals at home is very disappointing. Dan, regarding Harley Reid, if he leaves, then first rounders become second round value in their 20s with all the father, sons and academy picks. I know, Peter, you've spoken about this at length.
Yeah.
Needs to be at least 2 nominally top 5 picks at a minimum, as they could become double-figure picks on draft night. West Coast troubles start in the ruck. They need to get a half-decent ruck on the list, which they clearly don't have. Winning 1 from 6 contests is untenable. That's from Dan on 0437 774 774.
Yeah, hit out 77 to 19.
Yeah, it makes it hard as an inside mid. You're reactive, your back foot. You can't get really pro to when your opposition's doing it. So, it's certainly one.
Have a thought about the votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year and for the Christian Medal. Let's take a little bit of Damien Hardwick's presser.
Damien, how proud are you of the team to hit the road and perform like that week 1?
Yeah, it's good. It's always, we see the challenges of round 1 of the games that we sort of sat around and watched, and win away is a tough win away. So we're really pleased with the performance. Obviously, there's a number of things that we did very, very well, and we went up against a side that's learning a system. They're going to get a hell of a lot better, a lot quicker. Minnie's an outstanding coach, and he'll get some great understanding about what they did well and what they didn't do well. But we're pleased with the performance of our players, especially in and around the ball. I thought our guys hunted the contest really well, held good shape, and we managed to hit the scoreboard off the back of it, which was pleasing.
Did you have any doubts coming in, or did you know your team was
ready to go? I think, round 1 you're always nervous. You're nervous, you're excited, you're never quite sure how it's going to pan out. And, even by some of the results we've seen this week, you sort of hope you guys are switched on. You're never quite sure. So, look, I was really happy, and I thought, Noah and his leadership team did a great job making sure our guys were focused. Had an interrupted week that sort of, is quite easy to look back on and, was it a distraction? Well, the guys didn't make it one. So I was pleased with how our leaders handle it and our club in general. So it's a good result.
That midfield effort today in particular, you and the coach just looking at that, how happy were you with how they went there?
Yeah, it was great. Look, we obviously know this type of player Matt Rowell is. His market value's probably gone up again, which is a bit flattening. But anyway. But then I really look at Noah and Touk. Touk's first game back, didn't play any pre-season games, but looked very fit, very strong. And then there's the players a little bit around the outside that step in and out. Lockie Weller was enormous. Bailey Humphrey, I think we can see the player that he's going to become. Will Graham, these types. So we've got to get more guys through that. We tried that today. It's something we'll continue to challenge our guys on how that looks. But I thought their work in and around the contest. And look, I thought Witts was probably best on ground, to be honest. I thought he was a superstar today. One of the best games I think I've seen a ruck play. So he was really, really strong. Gave his first use, hunted the ball in and around the contest, and it was a great result for us.
So that's what Damien Hardwick thought about best on ground. He's given it to Witts out there. 13 disposals, 68 hit-outs. 5 clearances, 4 tackles. Anderson had 36 disposals. Rowell had 30. Miller had 26. King had, as I mentioned, 6 goals, 2. Long had 4 goals, 1. Rogers with 3 goals, while for the Eagles, Graham had 23 disposals, Baker with 21. How did you gentlemen see it, Peter Bell, Shane Woden?
Yes,
you're allowed to
disagree.
vote.
Yeah, no, that's it's hard. There's 5 players that probably you can't get him into 3. So we went 1 with Witts, 2 to Matty Rowell. He probably set the scene early, didn't he, with what his attack on the contest. And as Dimmer just said then, and we thought their skipper, Noah Anderson, was outstanding across the 4 quarters. He gets the 3.
You could honestly have any order with those 3.
Yeah.
Witts, Rowell, Anderson. They were and then you throw in Miller and King.
I was going to say, gee, you're stiff getting 6 goals and not getting a vote. I understand.
Which one do you want to take out?
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just being the punter throwing one in from the back.
He just got the service that the hard work starts at.
And what about for the Christian Medal with the West Coast Eagles?
Yeah, tough, obviously. but it's probably all defenders, really. That's where the ball spent majority of the day. So 1 to Hoff, 2 to Ruben Jimmy. I thought did some really good things down at back, and I thought Liam Baker was Eagles' best. We thought.
Okay, it's just repeating the ABC Footballer of the Year. 3 to Anderson, 2 to Rao, and 1 to Witts. The big news coming out today before we depart, I just want to bring this to you as well. 2 from the match review officer getting 3 weeks from yesterday's game. Justin McInerney for rough conduct against Brandon Starcevic in the fourth quarter. Didn't have a problem with this. Careless, severe and high, 3 matches. Jackson Archer's collision with Luke Cleary is a fascinating one. It's been charged rough conduct in the fourth quarter, careless, severe and high, 3 matches. Now, I could see why the MRO, with recent things, might have just said, look, I'm going to put this up. North can challenge it if they want. We'll take it to the tribunal and see what the tribunal thinks. I've seen the vision a number of times, and I just think Archer didn't have any realistic option. If you're going to contest the football, then go in. And I'm not trying to... This sounds awful for Luke Cleary, but he got knocked out. It was terrible. But if he doesn't go to ground and slide in, and we've been told that you're not supposed to slide in to attack the football, then we don't have the collision that we saw. And it is a sport where we're going to see players clatter into each other. You're going to have injuries because there's a contest for the football. And while it looks awful, and I might be out completely on a limb with this, but I thought this was a case where they just go, look, this is a horrible thing. We didn't want to see it, but Archer's allowed to actually attack the football here. And the argument being put forward, well, Cleary got there first, yeah, because he slid onto the football.
Slid, or maybe got a little push as well and lost his footing as well. And I think they're all factors that ultimately I think the tribunal will end up discussing and coming to a decision on, because I think that's where it's headed.
If you're North Melbourne, you'd have to challenge it, wouldn't you?
You would say so. Again, it's unfortunate, really bad that the young fella's got injured, but yeah, going to ground, I'm not sure what else Archer's supposed to do. He's expecting probably, a contact himself from an upright position, but at the last minute, it seemed Cleary went to ground, and then the contact was made.
And I've never played at a level worth a pinch of anything, but if we start to tell players, oh, you have to not attack the football here, then we're going away from the whole idea of the game. And that's something that no one wants to see anyone hurt, but it's the gladiatorial aspect at times, which is why the game is brilliant. And there will be incidents where people unfortunately get hurt, and I think this is one of them. Just my opinion. I could be completely wrong, and I'm happy for people to tell me so. Thanks very much for your company, gents. Lopsided affair today, but it was great to watch it with you.
Footy's back. A lot of fun. Thank you.
So repeating the games today to wrap up round 1. Adelaide over St Kilda by 63 points. The Giants by 3 points over Melbourne. And here in the West, what a performance by the Gold Coast Suns. Their biggest ever win in terms of margin. 87 points to the good over the West Coast Eagles. Clint Wilden, on behalf of the team, thanks for your company. See you soon.
Join me, Patricia Carvelis, on the brand new podcast, Politics Now. The federal election is just around the corner. Break down the headlines and detangle the spin with the podcast, Politics Now, on the ABC Listen app.
ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of cricket.